And so you ready to spread some love? And so you ready to spread some love through our words? All right, you gotta let me go first. Okay, you gotta wait. You gotta wait. You gotta wait. You gotta wait. Through words. And so you need to let me go, okay? They want to hear me talk too. Through words of affirmation. Today will be. Enzo, you repeat after me, okay? You don't even know the words. I have to start. No, we're not gonna. We're not switching it up, okay? I start, you repeat. Thank you. We're never gonna get any. Then you. We're not doing this.
Once you realize that if not Democrat versus Republican, it's not white versus black, it is American citizens versus our government. Not the current administration, the previous one. You start looking at the world differently. I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast, and he said something that just stuck to me. He said that the left is psyoped. And what psyop is, it's a psychological operation which is used to influence people's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, then you start looking at these, woke Democrats and liberals like, oh my God, you're brainwashed. Like, these people are brainwashed. They believe the propaganda against our president. And I just have to say this. Why the hell would you want our president to fail at running the country that we live in? We live here, right? I was seeing people on X that were talking to like the president of Mexico and Canada, Trudeau, like, yeah, America gonna fuck around and find out. And I'm confused because don't you live here too? Like, why would you want your economy, your country to fail? And that's how I know these people are psyoped. America is the greatest nation, period. Argue with your grandma. It's not up for debate. We need a strong leader, period. We need someone that can lead us in the right direction and not steal from us. Not spend $50 billion to fund sex changes in Guadalajara. Or $20 million for Iraqi Sesame Street. Or what, $30 million for condoms in Gaza. Like, this is what the fuck these people are spending our money on, bro. Like, the more I think about it, I get mad. While I'm over here struggling, I barely can buy a house. Okay, I gotta go through programs to be able to afford to buy a house. And they just shipped out $60 million for illegal immigrants, people that broke the law to come into our country. And we are not supposed to say anything about this. I feel like the government is like a bully. Like, we don't care what you want to do. This is what we're going to do with your money. So keep working so we can take your money and fund shit that's not going to benefit none of y'all. I don't see how more people are not outraged about this. Like, and then these stupid judges keep blocking everything our president is trying to do. I don't want to see just, you got fired. I want to see these people in jail, prison, at least 25 years at the minimum. General population, not PC. Because how could they do this to us? Like, but you guys are in the streets rallying against our Father God, help.
Help. I need somebody help. Not just anybody help. Yep. Oh, and that brings me to it brings us to here. The one I want. That's not the one I want. I want the other one.
Getting crazy, baby, chill. Don't medicate, just meditate. You waking up now, well, baby, you hella late. Educate, look at what's going on, let it resonate, accelerate. Find your inner hunger like you never ate. Agenda is to push the hate, separate and segregate. Don't celebrate quite yet, the storm is coming, Q, for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate. The values of our country and our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate. Marching on these streets of blood till I see the golden gates. Troubadour and troubled souls, one of God's servants. Blades out, cut the grass till we see the serpents.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you
I know
now.
the truth is hard to swallow, just digest it. Suspected something's going on, but chose to just neglect it. Deflected by some breaking news, oh, we just accept it. Expected just to fall in line and follow their perspective. Don't question their objective, but I got a lot of questions. How these kids molested, but nobody's been arrested. Read it in the testament, these children are protected. So I'm fighting all these terrorists, both foreign and domestic. Refuse to be directed, blind, not a sheep. Only kneel to my God, so I'm dying on my feet. Silence when we speak, but there's violence in the street. I've been rolling with the punches, I can't take it on the cheap. Drink from a glass half full, I'm optimistic. People are sadistic, so vicious and malicious. Praying for assistance to overcome opposition, or I'm gonna start resisting and then I'll pray for forgiveness.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. Need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now. We need you now. We need you now. One day, one day, one day, I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. Need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
Struggle Jennings, Caitlin Curtis, God, we need you now. And frankly, I think we got a pretty good idea that, sometimes we don't recognize that we need them until it's too late. But then again, there's other times that we just kind of go to town, and we do what we have to, So, all right, let's get into this side here. Live to TikTok. Let's start off right here. In response to parents' alarm about multiple sex scandals and abuse in, let's see, this would be Jeffco Public Schools. It doesn't say what area. Oh, I think that Colorado. Yeah. Board President Mary Parker suggests it's actually the parents who are the real threat, and the school should train students to watch out for their parents abusing them. Oh boy, here we go.
I just want to highlight the need to train children, and I want to broaden it a little bit more because my experience as a CASA is not just sexual abuse. In fact, most of it's other kind of abuse. And I'll just remember one of my little Emma, whose parents mistreated her so bad that she ended up in Children's Hospital with organ failure. And some of the therapy she got early on, she said to me one day, she said, my mom didn't treat me right. She shouldn't have done that. And she didn't know. She was starved, essentially. And so I would want our training for children to be broader than just don't touch these body parts or hear the proper terms. But what's appropriate, even for parents. So I want to say that. I just want to...
Mary Parker is her name. And I don't believe that she belongs on a school board. Now, Benny Johnson says, bang, Rachel Maddow just got clowned on live television. Maddow, actually, let's just go here.
Elon Musk has apparently somehow convinced the United States government, specifically the United States Department of State, that the taxpayers of the United States of America should spend $400 million buying, quote, armored Tesla production units. Isn't it great and definitely not at all illegal or profoundly corrupt? Definitely not ripping us all off to pay themselves, right?
Donald Trump didn't give that contract to Elon Musk. Joe Biden gave it to him.
Elon Musk has apparently somehow...
Yep. Just clowned herself. Yep. All right. Look what Donald Trump hung in the White House.
The entire internet is losing their minds over this photo taken of President Donald Trump in the Oval Office yesterday. There's Mark.
Okay, hang on. Are you guys losing your minds? Are you? So maybe not the entire internet, just a group of people from the internet would be a better way to phrase that. But not the entire internet, because I don't think the entire internet is even fucking looking. Okay.
Marco Rubio, Mike Waltz, this is Prime Minister Modi from India. But if you look really closely, in fact, let's get a little closer. Yeah, you know what? No, we gotta get a little closer. Look, do you see it now? Have you spotted it? Look, it's right there. In the hallway connecting Susie Wiles' office and Donald Trump's office, there is a framed copy of Donald Trump's infamous mugshot. Not only is it framed, but it's like matted. It's kind of like what you would do with a PhD or your kid's prom photo. The world's most popular mugshot taken of Donald Trump in Fulton County, Georgia, a couple years ago. Donald Trump not only used this image on T-shirts and mugs and fundraising emails and whatnot, but now he's framed it and hung it in the White House. And as he walks into the office every single day, or as he walks back and forth in the hallway, he takes a look at this and he remembers exactly what they did to him and how hard they tried to stop him and how much they weaponized the government against him. And Donald Trump proudly portrayed that mugshot in the White House because that mugshot is exactly why Donald Trump is back in the White House.
That's a good part of it. Yeah, absolutely a good part of it. All right. So should Elon Musk now sue Maddow?
Donald Trump didn't give that contract to Elon Musk. Joe Biden gave it to him.
Elon Musk has apparently somehow convinced the United States government, specifically the United States Department of State, that the taxpayers of the United States of America should spend $400 million buying, quote, armored Tesla production units. Isn't it great and definitely not at all illegal or profoundly corrupt? Definitely not ripping us all off to pay themselves, right?
Donald Trump didn't give that contract.
Yeah. That was just an additional highlight there because she did go into a little bit more information. All right, let's talk church.
Next. File, please.
Okay, I admit it. I did a lot of bad things.
Yes, I see.
But I've done good things too, to offset the bad things. Like one time, I cheated on a test, but then I cleaned up trash in the park.
Mm-hmm.
That should balance out, right?
Let's find out. This way.
That should have balanced out, right? It should have balanced out.
Next. Smile, please. Impressive.
Oh, yeah. I devoted my entire life to make this world a better place. I dug wells in Africa. I donated blood every month. And I ran an orphanage in India. I mean, I just wish I could have done more.
Mm-hmm. And is this your subscription?
I only read the articles. I only read the articles. I only read the articles.
Next.
My mom goes to church.
Was baptized as a baby?
Take American Express, right?
Next. File, please. Whoa. Somebody's been busy. Well, let's get this over with. Sorry, I didn't know he was with you. Okay, step on the scale. Now you. Him.
Hey, wait a minute. That is totally not fair.
That's why it's called grace.
That's why it's called grace. Yep. And here we go.
Back to Doge just for a second. Earlier, the subcommittee headed by Chairman Marjorie Taylor Greene, her and her staff discovered $2.7 trillion in improper payments to Medicare, Medicaid, overseas, to people who should not have gotten it. Some of this room might have missed that press conference. Can you elaborate on what the president is thinking at this point?
Well, again, that's another example. There's a very long list of the fraud, waste, and abuse that Doge is identifying on a daily basis. Elon Musk also talked about yesterday about Social Security payments that are going out the door for people who are no longer with us. Unfortunately, I would say that is certainly fraud. There's also a lot of contracts they've identified that, just as a hypothetical example, are $1 million, but only 500,000 went out the door. So where's the rest of that cash? And so that's the thing. Those are the things that Doge is working on every single day. And I would just remind everybody in this room, this is what President Trump campaigned on doing. He's delivering on a promise that 70.
Yeah. You know, it's just, yeah. So the U.S. government spent $2.7 trillion in Medicare and Medicaid money overseas to people who are not eligible to receive it. That's 8% of our national debt. Medicare isn't going broke. The money is being stolen. That's simple. Yep. And this guy.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready for people to start going to jail for what they've done, or just shut up about it. Because every time I hear some shit that Doge has found, you know, 100 billion here, 59 million here, billions here, millions here, and nobody gets fired, nobody goes to jail. All you doing by that is just pissing me off. You know, it's hard enough to pay taxes, but then I got to pay taxes after I hear this bull crap. I'm telling you, it's getting old, and it's getting old in a hurry. If you're not going to hold these people accountable and you're not going to send these people to jail, then by God, quit telling me about it. Quit putting it on the news every day so I've got to watch it. Quit tweeting it. If you're not going to do anything, then just shut the hell up about it. Don't make it worse by keep shoving this shit in our face.
There you go. That's simple. Yep. Gateway Pundit says, outrageous betrayal. Republican-led Texas House names Democrat as Speaker pro tem and hands half of the new subcommittees to the left. I'm not even going to read the article. You guys can look at the Gateway Pundit for that. But, yeah, just seems kind of odd, you know. All right, let's go.
So more coming out from Doge. Apparently this time it's the U.S. Treasury Department who has more waste and abuse of taxpayer funds than so far anything else that they've looked at. 23%. And it appears that there are people receiving entitlements to the tune of $50 billion with a B dollars a year that have no known social security number or ID on file. $50 billion. That's $1 billion a week in fraud and abuse. But not only is $1 billion a week going to unknown sources with no social security numbers and no valid ID. In addition to that, apparently the Treasury Department doesn't keep itemized records of their payouts. So there's no way to follow up and check as to where the money is going. So as of right now, the Treasury Department and Elon Musk Doge has agreed that going forward, the Treasury Department will now itemize all of the payments that they make, like where the money's going, to what entities, to whom. It is shocking to me, and it should be shocking to every taxpayer, that our own Treasury Department has no accountability and keeps no formal records of where they're paying and what they're paying. We could not get away with that at home with our own budgets. And could you imagine if the IRS came into our houses and said, well, I want to see itemized list of all these things that you pay, and we didn't have it? They would say, well, we're just going to assume that you did X, Y, Z, and we're just going to slap what we think you owe. But there's no accountability on their end. This is absolute insanity.
Yep. Absolute insanity. And she's right. She's right. All right. This comes out from America First Legal. New law enforcement documents reveal that Colorado officials knew, in fact, that the violent Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua posed a real and present danger, but withheld the truth from the public for over a year, shielding criminal illegal aliens and endangering U.S. citizens. These are just a few of them. Yeah. And this is kind of interesting. Senator Lindsey Graham declares that Zelensky is the ally he has waited for his entire life. He adds that no American has died defending Ukraine and praises the country for using weapons to kick Russia's ass.
I want to tell you and your people, you're the ally I've been hoping for all my life. Not one American has died defending Ukraine. You've taken our weapons and you've kicked their ass. And I'm very proud to have you as our ally. I want to tell you and your people, you're the ally I've been hoping for all my life. Not one American has died defending Ukraine. You've taken our weapons and you've kicked their ass. And I'm very proud to have you as our ally.
Well, Lindsay, I have a feeling that you're not going to feel that way very long. I put my logo up there because of the fact that I wanted to cover the RT there. Oh, by the way, we're having a safety meeting. You can't see me. You can only see him, it, the thing, the puppy. Yeah, the thing. Yeah. Sleeping like a baby. Big news. Business owner of Chicago says ICE has been contacting businesses and will be doing employee immigration checks. The businesses will be fined $20,000 for every illegal worker that ICE finds. This is real. It's happening in the city of Chicago. $20,000 for every worker you have in your business that's not legal in this country. It seems that several colleagues have already received a notification from ICE telling them that they are going to do a review of workers to their businesses. This guy has a Mexican restaurant in Chicago, and he says he's very concerned. Maybe he shouldn't be hiring illegals, and he'd have nothing to worry about. But I'm not going to play it because it's not in English, so he's not going to get any support here. White liberal women are the worst. That's what Amuse says.
The looming question on my mind on a daily basis is how working class people could.
And just to let you know, this girl right here is the reason that we need a second safety meeting.
The looming question on my mind on a daily basis is how working class people could be so easily duped into rallying behind billionaire South African Yahtzees whose whose open intentions are to dismantle democratic societies for the sake of installing technocratic oligarchical rule, draining the earth of all its remaining resources, and pushing out natalist propaganda for the sake of accelerating a world-ending event so they can have a much easier time securing all those resources and ditching us to go do the same to Mars? Like, what timeline is this? This is insane. It's just so easy. They love it. They want it. It's like I'm in hell world. It's like I'm not on a real planet with real people on it.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Yeah, they don't realize that we're not a democracy. It'll be tough for them. Fairfax County Schools, gender studies for elementary schools. Here we go.
I'm Kaylee Weichbrot. I'm a mom of 2 in Fairfax County. This is my oldest. And my husband and I have a difficult decision to make this fall as he is approaching preschool age, and we are faced with the decision of whether or not we are going to put our child in public school system where Fairfax County has decided to move forward with instituting gender studies in elementary school. Despite having done a study group, a focus group in the community to see if parents even wanted this. And when parents said no, the board voted 16-0 and said we're moving forward anyways. This shows clearly that they see parents not as partners, but as an obstacle for their agenda. And I have a really hard time looking at him and going, here, I'm just going to give you over to people who do not want to partner with me in how you're going to be raised. School and education is a huge part of a child's life. And early childhood is supposed to be filled with exploration and creativity and fun, not debating issues that are for adults to handle. These kinds of topics should be introduced sensitively and by parents who are raising their children with their values, not with an ideology passed down from the top. And so this isn't about discrimination. This is about age appropriateness. This is about parents being parents and the school being the support system to parents that it was created to be. I'm urging legislators to oppose the bill like the Hashmi bill and amendments that could further erode parental involvement and religious freedoms. Parents should be the primary educators in their children's lives and the protectors of their children's values. And so this is why we're here, to protect diverse family values and make sure that our children stay safe. And to the Fairfax County School Board, we really need you to listen. You have been elected. You have been put there to represent our voice. When you chose to make the decision to be on the school board, did you have us in mind or an agenda? And you really need to think about who are you there to represent, because the parents don't want this. Our schools should be partners with parents, not ideological adversaries.
Can't do that, Tammy. Can't do that. Oz is all you women's Valentine's today. Sorry. Ease your Valentine's. Get over it. Haha. I'm having a bad hair day. And the camera's all the way over there. All the way over there. And yeah. Oh, sorry. And we got a birthday in the house somewhere. Whose birthday is it? I saw happy birthdays going up somewhere. Happy birthday, Cher Bear. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Miss Sherbert. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, I don't celebrate these holidays. That's why I let the dog do it. Yeah. That's why I do that. Okay, Cabner. Yeah, I have bad hair weeks too. And my hair is pretty long. It's down to my butt. So, yeah, it can be a mess. Yep. Publius says, breaking, Mark Zuckerberg funneled $2 billion in Facebook stock to a foundation that's bankrolling lawsuits against Trump. Wait a minute. I thought Zuckerberg supported Trump. Silicon Valley Community Foundation has given over $4 million to protect democracy, who's taking Trump to court to stop Doge. Yeah, well, we'll see if anything else comes out about that. All right, was the Apostle John wrong for this? No, I don't think he was, actually, and I think that there's multiple ways of seeing his statement. And so one thing, before I play the video, I want to say this. When Christ was crucified, he said he said while hanging on the cross, he looked down at his mother, and he says, "Mother, this is your son." And he nodded his head towards John. And he said to John, "John, this is your mother." Now, in those days, men were the ones who took care of all the business, quote unquote, that was done in a household. They were the ones who owned property. They were the ones who owned animals. They were the ones who owned this, and that. The men did. Now, the men would travel and the women would keep the house while they were gone. But the fact of the matter was that anything that needed to be done had to be done by a man. So when John said the one that Jesus loved, what exactly did he mean? He loved him enough to entrust him with his mother. With his mother. Here we go.
You know that Bible verse where John refers to himself as Jesus' beloved? He's like, the one Jesus loved. Well, a lot of time we see that verse and we think, oh, John was arrogant. Oh, he was smart. He thought he was better than the other disciples. But imagine this. When we really look at that verse, imagine if you lived your life referring to yourself as the one Jesus loved. Not as, oh, I'm the construction worker. I'm the actor. I'm the content creator. But simply, I am Alistair, the one Jesus loved. I think that's the best way you can live your life. And that's how you should live your life. And that's how I'm going to continue living my life.
You are worth so much more than you realize. You may feel alone, yet the same God who created the universe died on a cross so that you may be with him forever because he loves you. Pretty simple. Pretty simple.
You know that,
but I believe that Jesus, knew that John would take care of his mother. And that was, I believe, why he had intimate moments with John and talked about particular things such as coming to anger, coming to ire from people's actions or words. That was one of the big things that Jesus and John had a conflict about. Him and his brother James were considered the sons of thunder. Why? Why? Because they were quick to anger. They held a lot of animosity against the other nations that resided in Palestine at that time. Okay. And that, that his people were looked down upon, especially men from Galilee, just my own thoughts, my own perception, I guess. This is Keith Siegel, who was released after being held for over 400 days by Hamas.
My name is Keith Siegel, and I'm a 65-year-old American citizen. I love country music and I love pancakes on Saturday morning, but that was my previous life. Since February 1, I am a newly released Hamas hostage. I am a survivor. I was held for 484 days in unimaginable conditions. Every single day felt like it could be my last. President Trump, you are the reason I am home alive. You are the reason I was reunited with my beloved wife, 4 children, and 5 grandchildren. Thank you for your continued fight against terror and for your bold leadership that has brought me and many others back home to our families, to safety and to security. When I was in Gaza, I lived in constant fear for my life and for my personal safety. I was starved and I was tortured, both physically and emotionally. When the war intensified, the terrorists who held me treated me even worse than usual. Terrorists kicked me, spat on me, and held me with no water, no light, and no air to breathe. Mr. President, once again, your leadership, power, and authority are necessary to enforce the ceasefire and put an end to the unnecessary daily dangers to the lives of innocent hostages and civilians. Your leadership and strength will ensure the agreement is honored by all sides. That is what will allow all 76 hostages to return home to their families. I trust your strength and leadership, Mr. President. The helpless hostages in the dark, cold tunnels in Gaza also trust you. Please bring them home.
There you go. Yeah. But he gave his thanks to Trump. He should have given some to God too, because the man was inspired by him in order to make this happen. Panic in D.C. is the best rundown I've heard yet, and it comes from President Trump's counselor, Alina Habba. And I'll let her say it.
If we want to save money, people are going to get upset. Why are they getting upset? Because we're taking money out of their pockets. The best thing that Elon Musk is going to do is going to look at people's salaries and say, okay, if you make X amount of money and you're worth $68 million, we're going to look at why that is. And that's really the bottom line, because we could talk about everything, every executive order, but there is a panic in DC at this moment where I now live, and it is very simple. We are cutting them off from their funding. And that means politicians, not just saving taxpayer dollars. And that's where the panic is coming from. It's pretty basic. In our administration, we have a tremendous amount of billionaires who are successful businessmen. And I could name them all, but we know who they are, who have taken a leave, sold their companies, walked away from their lives to sacrifice to help America be great again. There are many. Now, Elon's become a target for one very simple reason, because he is cutting the funding to these politicians who have put their bureaucratic, personal financial gain and interest above the American people. That is the difference. that may not be felt by some of the other people that are in the administration that have done the same thing that Elon does, that are incredibly successful billionaires. But they are targeting him because he is cutting their lifeline, their financial. Listen, Nancy made how much money? And we're going to go down the line of looking at all these people. There is no reason, as a federal employee, me included, I shouldn't walk out richer from the federal government. That should not be the case.
No,
and I open you up to look, because it's not going to happen. You don't do it. The only reason they're screaming about Elon, it's very simple. Nobody has said it yet, and I'm going to say it. It's because they're hitting their pockets. Only reason they're screaming about Elon. They're not screaming about Howard Lutnick. They're not screaming about Burgum. They're not screaming about those billionaires. They're screaming about him. And that's because he's going in and hitting where it hurts. So you know what happens when you scream and when you sing songs outside at a rally, which, by the way, what are you doing on the American taxpayer dollars, creating songs against the Republican Party? It's bizarre. But when you're doing things like that, that says to me one very simple thing. We have hit your Achilles heel. And we will continue to hit you. We will look at why our children are not educated. We will look at why our children have an increase in ADHD. We will look at why our borders are not safe, why our security is crazy, and why there is fentanyl crisis right now in our country like we have never seen. Because illegal immigrants were supposed to come in and vote for Kamala Harris, but it didn't work out for them. So they are panicking. And Elon may be triggering just a little bit of insecurity, which is that they are worried about us looking at exactly what they've done and exactly how much they've made. And that is now stopping. And it's a panic. It's very simple.
Yep. They know they in big trouble. Big trouble. Extremely important, says Wall Street Apes. TikTok user Celeste Da Bestie. Celeste DeBestie has created a site that gives updated ICE information all throughout America. This gives their exact location, details, and spottings so illegal immigrants can avoid ICE officers and deportations. This is a very in-depth tool. This video explains how it works. This must be stopped. Here we go. Let's take a listen.
Hey everyone, so this is going to be a quick tutorial on how to use the ICE tip line that we have created and that is linked in my bio on the link tree. This is going to be on my laptop, so it might look a little different for you if you are on your cell phone, but it should function in a very similar way. So what's really cool is that this is an interactive map. So let's say that I am in the Los Angeles area and I want to see what the latest news is about ICE sightings. I can zoom in into Los Angeles. I can pick, let's say I'm over here by Riverside. Look and then click on the pin that was reported. And it looks like, as you can see, a couple things. Sneaky Shark, it's an anonymous username. You don't have to log in order to use this platform. This was posted 9 minutes ago in Riverside, California. Looks like ICE was drinking coffee at Starbucks. They were in a van on Burn Boulevard and Arlington. You can leave a comment. So if somebody else was there and you verify it, you can leave a comment and add more specifics or confirm that you also saw them in that location. So again, super cool that it's interactive. So you can move around and see where there have been ICE sightings across the country. I posted a video earlier saying that this data is only from today. So this is all from Thursday, January 23rd. I have moved all of the data from yesterday that you all submitted into a different map. I'm going to hopefully try to provide a tutorial and a link to that later today. But the way that this works is you're going to hit the plus or the edit button down here. You can type in an address. I'm going to do one infinity loop because I know that's Apple headquarters. And then what's really cool, I think if you're on mobile, this is going to show up at the very bottom of this window for you. But you can upload a picture from your phone. You can add a link let's say if you have a link of a picture in Google Drive, you can do it that way. You can actually open your camera, take a picture live, or record a video. And then you can add a GIF or like find pictures from the internet that you want to add. A couple of things that I want you to remember to include. How many? Right? Were they in a vehicle? Were they on foot? Okay. Were they armed? Were they not armed? What were they doing? Entering the building? You're going to add the business. This is going to be Apple HQ because this is Apple headquarters. And then you can add more details there. People have been asking me what the different colors mean. Nothing right now. You can customize the pen to be whatever color you want it to be. But for now, they don't have any meaning. Maybe as we continue to improve this, there might be a change to that. You hit submit. Yep, I want to be Agile Tiger. That's an anonymous username. And then there it is. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I don't want false information on this. So that's it. That's how you use it. Make sure that you spread the word, share it with your family, share it with your loved ones. It's very important that we keep each other safe. I'm getting a lot of feedback on how to make this better, and I am writing that down. I am taking all of that in. I am going to do my best to make some changes in order to make this better. I am assembling a team, a group of people that wants to help with this. So if you're interested in volunteering, let me know. It's going to be data stuff. It's going to be maintaining the data, migrating data over to an archive map, stuff like that. But as time goes on, I hopefully hope to improve this in order to continue to make it better to keep our community safe. Thank you all so much for all the love, for sharing.
Wow.
It's true. I can't put into words how grateful I am and how proud I am to be a part of a community that looks out for each other like this. Stay safe, everyone, and chinga la migra.
Yeah, I think that there should be like 10,000 reports of ICE being somewhere that they're not intentionally taking up the entire map. Wouldn't that be funny? We'll see what happens here. So, Oofa, that's gotta burn, says Carly Bonet.
Most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility. He was sentenced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to the prosecution. Now, I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person. But no, this last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law. Naturally, the government urged readers to report any fellow citizens suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat.
I'll be with you guys in a second. Give me back. Oh, come here, big boy. Oh, 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 oh. Wow. Yeah, you're getting to the point where I can't pick you up. Good boy. Go ahead, go potty and stuff. I'll bring you back in a little bit. All right. I guess that means you're gonna have to look at me now. Oh boy. Yeah. Hang on. Hello. Hey, can I call you back after I finish my podcast?
Sure, no, I probably won't have my phone on me. I'll be pruning.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just curious how that heater was working.
The battery died.
That died.
Yep.
No shit.
Yep.
You don't have a charger, do you?
Yep. Nope. No, battery died the second day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So-
well, I'll let you go.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So I just got to. Yeah, you got to get a charger. So I'll work on that. Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks, Bill. All right. Bye. Okay. I didn't know if he was coming by, and I wanted to make sure ahead of time, just in case. Because if I didn't answer that, and he would just assume that I'm outside working and not necessarily on a podcast. So, yeah. All right. This was pretty good too. And I want you guys to pay close attention to this one. Let's see here.
Roomba is being charged with leaking intimate pictures of individuals in their own home. There are leaked pictures of a woman sitting on a toilet, and these pictures have been taken by Roomba vacuums. Robot maker iRobot confirmed that sensitive images leaked online were taken by its devices. It shows the capabilities and it shows the ability to leak this type of information. So if these units can take pictures of you sitting on the toilet,
and they can take video.
So clearly what this means is that anybody who owns a Roomba, your pictures are being stored somewhere on the cloud, and they have the ability to be leaked everywhere. Your children, you, it could be when you're in the toilet, it could be when you're taking a shower, it could be you in the bathroom, it could be anything that you consider sensitive and private information. iRobot, which is the maker of Roomba, is clearly violating privacy, and their infrastructure is clearly vulnerable to being leaked. Roomba is being charged with.
Okay, so you got a Roomba. Be real careful what you have in front of it. That's right. All right, perhaps the most epic media takedown you'll ever see, and it only took a few hours. What was that saying again? Oh, yeah.
To attack Elon Musk. Do you guys want to see one of the most epic takedowns of propaganda media that you'll probably ever witness? And it all happened within a few hours. And as an added bonus, you're going to see exactly why we regularly say that you cannot dislike these people enough. So this morning, Reuters decided that they wanted to jump on the bandwagon and try to attack Elon Musk with the headline saying Musk Doge cuts based more on political ideology than real cost savings so far. And don't forget what we've learned about USAID and the money that they've been funneling into organizations like Intranews Network and what Intranews Network was doing to create propaganda. And real quick, before we move on, notice the timestamp on that? February 13th, 10:19 a.m. And just a few hours later, after Elon Musk was probably wrapping up solving world hunger or something, he tweeted out at 2:47 p.m., I wonder how much money Reuters is getting from the government. And just remember, because we're the media now, Mario Nawfal posted this and tagged Elon Musk. DOD paid Reuters $9 million for social engineering program. So to answer Elon Musk's question, it's about $9 million. From 2018 to 2022, the Department of Defense was paying Reuters for something really interesting, social engineering. And if you don't believe me, you can go to usspending.gov and you can look it up yourself. See it right there? But this is really interesting. But you see right down there at the bottom of that receipt where it says active social engineering defense, large-scale social deception. So within 4 hours of Reuters actually engaging in active social engineering by writing headlines designed specifically to change perception of the public about Elon Musk and what he's doing there, we find out that they've been paid $9 million over a 4-year period into 2022 to do exactly that. It's the transparency that they can't deal with. It's the fact that It takes hours to expose just how deeply corrupt our media and our government has become, and it only takes us a few hours to expose it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we read something on that yesterday. I just thought that he articulated it pretty well. I meme, therefore I am, says, welcome to New York City. Over the course of a few days, multiple mid-school and high school students aged 12 to 14 have been terrorizing the streets of Brooklyn. They've been invading businesses, throwing fireworks, attacking random people, vandalizing property, throwing stuff at vehicles, and assaulting police.
You have been
And that's in Brooklyn. Yep. Yep. Crazy, huh? Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Phil Godlewski of the church. I need your house, your car, IRA, 401k. You cannot make this up. Here we go.
You know that I'm doing this arena. Saints, this is going to cost about $1.4 million. The arena, to rent out the arena by itself with nothing else, costs $250,000 for 2 nights. We have that paid. I need you to sow big. I need some of you to sow 1,000. Some of you can sow 10,000. I need some of you to sow 20 and 40,000. I am speaking in this season to people to sow their possessions. Jesus required the apostles to give up houses and lands and to sow that into the ministry so that they could go full time with him. People lay their possessions at the apostles' feet. I'm telling people to give possessions. That means if you got houses that you can give away, cards, lands, stocks, gold, silver, collectibles, sow a house, sow land, give away this. You have 4 houses, give away 1 to the ministry. You should be doing that. You have gold, you have silver put away. Some of you have 401ks, you have annuities, you have stocks, you have collectibles, valuables, gold, silver. Some of you have land. Some of you got oil wells. You may have 20 oil wells, and God said, give the ministry 5 of them. You don't have to just give in money. You need to give in possessions. Don't persecute me if you don't have it. All these people who's persecuting me saying I'm a warlock and I'm teaching false doctrine are liars. And that's why that oneness, that Jesus oneness.
I don't remember what, if I'm not mistaken, rich man went to Jesus and said, what do I have to do in order to get into your kingdom? And Jesus said to go and sell all your possessions and give it to the poor. He didn't say give it to a preacher. He didn't say give it to me. He didn't say give it to my apostles. He said give it to the poor. For it's easier to pass a camel through the eye of a needle than it is to slip it into the gates of his kingdom. Am I right? Am I right? Isn't that what he said? He said, go and sell all your possessions and give it to the poor. Just saying. I'm just saying. All right. This guy.
Doge has them running for the doors. Have you seen this? Leaks tweets this out. Washington, D.C. searches soar for Swiss Bank. That's in yellow. Offshore bank in green. Wire money in IBAN in blue. Look at this. Nada, and then bam. See the dates right here. Look at this. November 2024, December, nothing. Boom. Look at this search. Cayman Island tax haven. Look at this. All the way up. Do you see what's going on here, Washington? 3 times the amount of people in Washington, D.C. looking for criminal defense attorney. Look at this. It's all increasing. Offshore, Cayman Islands, criminal defense attorneys in Washington, D.C., these Google searches are soaring. And you're probably sitting at home going, but why? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Take a look at this.
Problem is, these people can't conspire right now because all their phones are tapped.
Absolutely. They've tapped all their phones. They're watching them. Who do you trust? Who can you talk to? Who can you really, really trust? Because
They're crazy. The power that they have to look into people's emails, look into people's phones, find out what text messages they're sending. They can look into your signal.
Pegasus, baby.
Yeah, they look into everything. So
They absolutely have them. They've got them against the wall. They don't know who they can trust. They don't know who they can talk to. They don't know who's recording them.
this is going on. So they can't conspire. And then they also have to worry about people taking deals. So there's going to be some people that squeal. And so then you don't know who's your fucking enemy and who's your friend. And everywhere you talk.
You don't know who's your enemy and you don't know who's your friend. And we're here for it. And we're watching. And if you think you can destroy all these things and Elon's not going to find it, or big balls, or this team of Doge, they're coming for you and they're going to get you. And all of us are sitting back here going, it's glorious. Exactly what we voted for. Who's with me?
Yep, and he's right. He's right. That is what we voted for. Did you know that Admiral Michael Rogers was the 17th director of the NSA? The 17th. Going to leave that there for a moment while we have a safety meeting, because this guy kept us safe by going and telling Trump that they was spying on him. Yeah. All right, moving on. Interesting. Chadwick Moore says the Associated Press. Oh, that was good. Oh boy, that was a good one. The Associated Press took in U.S. Agency for Global Media, 37.27. Department of State, 8.49 million. Department of Defense, 4.37 million. Executive Office of the President, 916,000. Department of Justice, 319,000. Department of Health and Human Services, 278,000. Department of Education, 174,000. Department of Interior, 99,000. Securities and Exchange, 73,000. Smithsonian Institute, 55,000. So this is the Associated Press. Yeah. Is that top one? U.S. Agency for Global Media, 37.27. We have to add all of those up, and it comes out, it's taken over 52 million in government money. And Elon says, interesting. That he did. Yep. So Elon says, I've had a top security or a top secret clearance for many years and have clearances that themselves are classified. And just so everybody knows, yes, that is possible to have classifications that themselves are classified. They can't even tell you what the name of the classification is. Okay, just so you know. That said, far too much information is made classified. If something is easily found online or patently obvious, it should not be classified. This impedes effective communication within the government. So, this moment from the USAID House hearing is fire. Here we go.
This was fire. Under the guise of foreign aid, USAID has been an unapologetic front for a far-left agenda. It has become self-evident there weren't a handful of foolish policies, but rather a coordinated strategy of radical, idiotic, and often anti-American priorities. Idiotic, you say? Millions to teach Moroccans how to make pottery? The Moroccans were making pottery before we were a country. This entire debate today and the crocodile tears from Democrats just goes to show what's wrong with this town. Not a single Democrat I've heard has expressed dismay at the many examples of crazy, wasteful spending. I don't understand the objection to a deep dive in how we spend our money, but perhaps it's the fact that over the last several weeks, a massive surge has occurred in the search for a criminal defense attorney. That probably says it all. 5 times in this city, any other city in the nation. I'd like to remind the committee that President Kennedy unilaterally created USAID through an executive order in 1961. Yet the President Trump, orders a momentary pause after winning a mandate for reform, and Democrats cry, constitutional crisis. As long as you're spending other people's money, no one bats an eye. But the second you want to save taxpayer dollars, the swamp cries wolf, or in this case, unprecedented constitutional crisis. This breathless, fake outrage from the left is utterly insane. And you know what the American people, you know they can see right through it. The generosity of Americans and the blessing of giving aid to others has always been one of our most valuable tools for diplomacy. The American people have a proud history of championing aid to our fellow man, but lawless bureaucrats have poisoned that goodwill. Many USAID programs are wasteful and actively sabotage our diplomatic relationships by forcing woke ideology on our partners. Just look at PEPFAR, a beacon of hope in the fight against HIV/AIDS, yet the Biden administration even weaponized this crucial program, jeopardizing lives and undermining our relationship with African nations. Under Administrator Powers, our message to Africa was explicit, as it was heinous. Abort your babies and violate your religious convictions, or we won't grant you life-saving aid. Let me be crystal clear to those who've been complicit in this betrayal. Firing those involved is just a start. We have a long way to go. And one last point. I want to correct the record on a couple of things. First, Elon Musk and the team that is working does not have access to personal data. They don't have access to your social security number. That is a lie. Elon Musk does have a security clearance. He has a top secret security clearance. By God, he makes the rockets for NASA. But the suggestion that he somehow can't be trusted to dig into how we're spending our money is nothing but a smokescreen to hide the corruption and the wasteful spending that has occurred there. And I am personally offended at the left's continued references to 19-year-olds and 21-year-olds in there doing work. There are 19-year-olds who have won the Medal of Honor defending this country. Just because you're 19 doesn't mean you're some child who can't be trusted. It is offensive. And if you're 19 years old out there, 20 years old, and you're serving this country, by God, your service matters. Keep serving. We thank you for that.
I don't think there was a single thing that he said in that statement that was not 100% truth. You know, and this statement right here, Social Security was never drying up. They were stealing it. We've talked about that before, that I truly believe that they have been stealing the money from the Social Security, you know. Joe Rogan says facts. Harry Truman says you can't get rich in politics unless you're a crook. Elon says truth. Yeah. All right. So before the election, we had many conversations about watching people's awakening, right? And now I want to show you one of now that I realized that you're evil, I now see everything that you're doing, and I have the internet. And it's time for me to start speaking up. And this is Tallulah. Mountain Mama put this up, and she thought it was good, and she does good. You're all frauds, the whole lot of you that talk like this. Mainstream media is a joke. Let's see what this guy points out to us, and this is why I'm saying that awakening we watch happening, and them coming around and saying, you know what, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because I'm seeing now. Sometimes you have to show the people, right? Well, I like to see how far they've advanced since their awakening. You know what I mean? And what they're doing in order to wake up other people. It's like a pay it forward thing, but we're just kind of monitoring the pay it forward thing, right? We're watching these guys go from being hardcore liberals to, whoa, I got you. I caught you. I see what you did. I saw you, how you deceived us. I get that. Yep.
Sometimes these people forget that the internet exists and we could pull up these receipts.
The presidential pardon was originally meant to grant the president the power to temper justice with mercy. It was not enshrined in our Constitution so that a dishonorable man could reward his criminal allies, friends, and family for their corrupt practices. I don't have a problem with Biden pardoning his son. He should have pardoned him. The crazies are coming, right? But to me, it's like pardon more.
This is why a lot of people have woken up and stopped trusting the Democrats, because y'all some flip-flopping motherfuckers. And if it wasn't for technology and that we have receipts, you would lie about that too. That is fuckery. Sometimes.
And I remember some of his first ones where he was waking up and he's like, I don't understand this. I don't see this. And now he's making videos like this. And I think that's, I think that's awesome. And I like to see that, look back on those that you affected and see what they learned from you and see if they're passing that on, as well as gaining and learning other things, because we said it before, we're going to be the ones telling history. We're going to be the ones, telling the next generations, and making sure that they grow up right so that they too become protectors of this world. Perhaps the most important confirmation is coming up. Director of the FBI, Kash Patel, must be confirmed. Let's make confirmed Kash the #1 trending phrase on X. Comment or share with confirmed Kash. Kash promises to release the Jeffrey Epstein client list day one. And this was during the hearing. And by the way, they did have a vote. So now it's out of committee and now it goes to the floor for a vote. And that's going to probably be Monday or Tuesday that happens. I don't think it would be possible for it to happen before then. I think they have it starts the clock when the committee, after the committee votes, and they got a thing. So there's a clock that starts, and I don't recollect whether it's a 48-hour or if it's a 4-day. You missed a safety meeting. Well, I'm just so sorry to hear that. Don't miss this one. All right, let's keep going. But Marsha Blackburn, I have a feeling that she is going to be okay. So one of the first comments that I saw today was, did Trump release the names? Okay. But see, I want us to go back a day or a few days, and I want to remind you of what she said during this hearing. Okay.
I want to talk to you about the Epstein case. I have worked on this for years, trying to get those records of who flew on Epstein's plane and who helped him build this international human trafficking, sex trafficking ring. Now, earlier, I urged then Chairman Durbin to subpoena those records, and I ended up being blocked by for what Ray, they stonewalled on this. And I know that breaking up these trafficking rings is important to President Trump. So will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past.
I got the answer. That's what I'm smoking right there. Keeps me calm. So as all this information is coming in and my brain isn't, so it slows my thought process down from 1,000 miles an hour to 100 miles an hour. Is what it does. Slows me down speaking too. So, all right. This was one of the clips that we did. I didn't catch this during the original release video. But Nathan Johnson, policy advisor for the U.S. Department of Treasury, alleges our American swiper that 23andMe, who owns 23andMe? Anybody know? Anybody know? Let me open Grok in another window. Who owns 23 and me? "23andMe is a publicly traded company, so it is owned by its shareholders. However, the largest individual shareholder co-founder is Anne Wojcicki, who serves as the CEO. The company trades on the NASDAQ stock exchange under the ticker symbol ME. Institutional investors such as mutual funds and hedge funds also own significant portions of the company. Let's see, who is their spokesman? Okay, so, that is cool. I did not know it was going to do that because I was just thinking that I did that wrong by adding, just typing on this bottom part here. This is cool. So you can actually carry on a continuous conversation with the AI. Okay, so let's see. As of the latest available information, Andy Kill, and I'm pulling up their pages in the background, serves as a spokesman for 23andMe. He has been mentioned in the media reports addressing topics such as the company's commitment to privacy and the management of customer genetic data. Who are its board members? Who are its board members? Okay, so who are its board members? As of the latest available information, the board members of 23andMe include Anne Wojcicki, CEO, co-founder, and the chair of the board, and Andre Fernandez, independent director, chair of the audit committee, and member of the compensation committee, Jim Francola, independent director, member of the audit committee and the compensation committee, Mark Jensen, independent director, lead independent director, chair of the compensation committee, and a member of the audit committee. These appointments were made following the resignation of the previous board members in September of 2024, with the new directors joining effective October 28th, 2024. For the most current details, you can check 23andMe official investor relation page. Who are the top investors? Well, it took them a minute to get all that. So here we go. New View Capital Partners, LLC, one of the largest institutional shareholders. Vanguard Group, Inc., holds a significant number of shares through various funds, including the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund and the Vanguard Extended Market Index Fund. Euclidean Capital, LLC, another major institutional investor. iShares Russell 2000 ETF managed by BlackRock. This fund holds a notable stake. Sapphire Ventures, LLC, a significant investor in the company. Millennium Management, LLC, holds a substantial number of shares. Number 7, BlackRock Inc., through various funds, including iShares. Number 8, Renaissance Technologies, LLC, a hedge fund with a notable investment in 23andMe. Additionally, Anne Wojcicki, the co-founder of and CEO of the largest, is the largest individual shareholder. These details are based on SEC filings and institutional ownership data. For the most current and detailed ownership information, you can refer to 23andMe's filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission or financial platforms like Yahoo Finance and Fintel. Thank you. And it says to ask a question, but I want to see if it'll actually give a human response. Look at that. You're welcome. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask. Yeah, cool. Huh? So here's more info on Anne Wojcicki. Is an American entrepreneur and biologist, best known as the co-founder and CEO of 23andMe, a personal genomics and biotechnology company. Born in 1973, she has played a significant role in making genetic testing accessible to the public, allowing individuals to explore their ancestry, health risks, and genetic traits. Wojcicki has a background in biology, having earned a BS from Yale University, and she initially worked in healthcare investing before founding 23andMe in 2006. She is also notable for her advocacy in personalized medicine and consumer access to genetic information. Wojcicki was previously married to Sergey Brin, co-founder of Google, and they have 2 children together. If you'd like more details about her work, company, or recent activities, feel free to ask. Interesting. Andy Kill. It seems you're referencing Andy Kill, but the context is unclear based on available information. There are a few possibilities. Andy Kill, communications director at 23andMe. Andy Kill is a professional known for his role as the director of communications at 23andMe, a biotechnology company. He has extensive experience in public relations and communications for tech companies, including media strategy, issues management, and executive communications. He has worked with major companies like Microsoft, LinkedIn, and eBay in the past. So basically, he farms and mines data. So now he's just doing it on a human level. Fictional or media references. There's also a fictional or media related references such as character name Andy in discussions about Walking Dead. Yeah. So yeah. It's nice when you get to look at them. $119 ancestry service. So you think about it, they have the DNA of how many bloodlines? How many bloodlines do they have? You know what I mean? That's a lot of data. A lot of data. And our DNA is coded, right? So I wanted to check here real quick to see if they are doing a press conference today. Nope, nothing coming up on there. So, all right, back to this. Yeah, it's so what's this guy got to say about 23andMe? Well, let's listen.
That's when 23andMe comes in. Trying to figure out what all you are. I should do that.
You shouldn't do that, though. Do not give your information to those people. They sell it to other people.
Do they sell it to Russia?
They sell it to everybody. There's a clause in their contract that basically says, like, we can give your information to our shareholders so that they can do stuff. And all of their shareholders are, like, pharmaceutical companies. But some of those pharmaceutical companies are companies based in other countries, and those pharmaceutical companies in other countries are like the property of like the Ministry of Defense of Russia, or like owned by China.
That's when 23andMe comes in.
So you get where, you know, you get where I'm going with all this. Don't give anybody anything you don't have to give them. Douglas Mackey, Trump acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove, accept New York U.S. Attorney Danielle Sassoon's resignation in an explosive letter. And that letter is right here. Yeah. All right. So United States v. Adams, number 24 CR 556, Southern District, New York, Ms. Sassoon. In response to your refusal to comply with my instruction to dismiss the prosecution of Mayor Eric Adams, I write to notify you of the following. First, your resignation is accepted. This decision is based on your choice to continue pursuing a politically motivated persecution despite an express instruction to dismiss this case. You lost sight of the oath that you took when you started at the Department of Justice by suggesting that you retain discretion to interpret the Constitution in a manner inconsistent with the policies of a democratically elected president and a Senate-confirmed Attorney General. Second, you indicated that the prosecution team is aware of your communications with the Justice Department, is supportive of your approach, and is unwilling to comply with the order to dismiss the case. Accordingly, the AUSAs principally responsible for this case and are being placed on off-duty administrative leave pending investigations of the Office of the Attorney General. That's the attorney, I believe that's, the attorney's USA's agency, or I don't even know. And the Office of Professional Responsibility, both of which will also evaluate your conduct. This leave will remain in effect until further notice. This is not a disciplinary or an adverse action, and the AUSAs will continue to receive full salary and benefits during administrative leave, while the aides, I think that's aides to U.S. attorneys, are in an off-duty status. They are not to use their government-issued laptop, phone, ID badge, PIV card to access duty stations or any other federal facility unless explicitly directed to do so. While on administrative leave, if contacted by management, the AUSAs must respond by phone or email no later than the close of business the following business day. The investigation of the Office of the Attorney General will be conducted pursuant to inter alia Executive Order 14147, entitled Ending the Weaponization of the Federal Government, and on the basis of the Attorney General's February 5th, 2025 memorandum regarding restoring the integrity and credibility of the Justice Department. The conclusion of these investigations, the Attorney General will determine whether termination or some other action is appropriate. But she basically accepted her resignation, but there is more. There is more. I believe based on attendance at our recent meetings, I understand the relevant AUSAs to be Hagen Scotton and Derek Wickstrom. If either of these wish to comply with my directive but was prohibited from doing so by you or the management of your office, or if these AUSAs wish to make me aware of other mitigating circumstances they believe are relevant, they can contact my office directly. The Justice Management Division and EOUSA, Executive Office of USA, have taken steps to remove access to electronic devices, and I ask that you and the others cooperate with those efforts and preserve all electronic and hard copy records relating to this matter, whether they are stored on official or personal devices. Third, under your leadership, the office has demonstrated itself to be incapable of fairly and impartially reviewing the circumstances of this persecution. Therefore, the prosecution of Mayor Adams is transferred to the Justice Department, which will file a motion to dismiss the charges pursuant to Rule 48 of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure. My prior directive regarding no further targeting of Mayor Adams or additional investigative steps related to this matter remains in place. Background on this is on January 20th, 2025, an Executive Order 14147 President Trump established the following policy. It is a policy of the United States to identify and take appropriate action to correct past misconduct by the federal government related to the weaponization of law enforcement. In a February 5th, 2025 memorandum setting forth the department's general policy regarding zealous advocacy on behalf of the United States, and the Attorney General stated, any attorney who, because of their personal political views or judgments, declines to sign a brief or appear in court, refuses to advance good faith arguments on behalf of the administration, or otherwise delays or impedes the department's mission, will be subject to discipline and potentially termination, consistent with applicable law. Your office was not exempted from the president's policy or the U.S. Or the Attorney General's memorandum. On February 10th of 2025, I directed you to dismiss the prosecution of Mayor Adams based on well-founded concerns regarding weaponization, election interference, and the impediments that the case has imposed on Mayor Adams' ability to govern and cooperate with federal law enforcement to keep New York City safe. My February 10th, 2025 memorandum indicated that I acted pursuant to the authorization of the Attorney General. The mechanism for seeking dismissal of Rule 48 of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure, Note 2 to Rule 48, explains that the rule confers the power to file a dismissal by leave of court on the Attorney General, as well as on the United States Attorney, since under existing law, the Attorney General exercises general superintendence and direction over the United States attorneys. Functions of other officers of the Department of Justice and all functions of agencies and employees of the Department of Justice are vested in the Attorney General. And it gives a bunch of numbers. Prior to issuing February 10, 2025 memorandum, I reviewed public filings in this matter and your office's prosecution memorandum and classified submissions. I met with you and the prosecution team, held a separate meeting that involved you, the prosecution team, and the defense counsel, and then met with you privately in my office. During those meetings, I invited written submissions from both sides, and I carefully reviewed those submissions. Thus, your recent suggestions about a lack of process around the Justice Department's decisions are not grounded in reality. Is there more? Is there more? Yeah, interesting, right? Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. All right. Here we go.
Trump then turned on the lights, and now the roaches and rats are scattering and running. He said he was going to drain the swamp, and now the creatures are coming out, and they don't know what to do. I've been hearing, word on a curb, this is rumor, that some of them may be facing criminal charges soon. You know, Rikers Island, Pelican Bay, shoestring program. Trump and the Dream Team meant what they said, and they saying what they mean. No more of this craziness in America. We are going to make America great again, and we're going to keep America great again. America is about justice, fairness, and equality. And until Americans are put first, then America can't be America. This is better than reality TV. Y'all stay tuned, because every day we got a different layer being revealed to us. God bless you all, and God certainly bless the United States of America.
Yeah. This is pretty good here. There we go.
They are advocating that.
Oh, hang on one second. I didn't do that, did I? USAID has completely lost the trust of the American people. Mike Benz Cyber has exposed their corrupt operations destabilizing nations and using race wars to do it, all on the taxpayers' dime. They can't even condemn their own wrongdoing. Here we go.
They are advocating that the U.S. military work with taxpayer funded State Department USAID funds to destabilize nations. That is unacceptable. I don't care who wrote it. USAID needs to come down and condemn it. They need to provide oversight to Congress on exactly where our tax dollars are going. And I know I might be at 17 seconds with our time, but sir, I hope that you agree. Can I, yes or no, do you agree that this is wrong? Period. Should this be happening?
I think the military should be held accountable. I think it's
and
nonsense.
Should USAID condemn it?
Nonsense to suggest
should USAID
that AID
condemn
wrote
it?
that.
Should they condemn it?
The military should.
Should USAID also condemn this?
Of course, we don't comment. AID does not comment on military mandates.
Thank you, sir. They are advocating that the U.S.
Well, yeah, they've been in a lot of things. Now, I'm going to ruin some people's day. I've known this since I was a kid. Let's see how many of you knew this.
Wedge.
How many of you knew this right here? I knew it because I'm a carpenter. All right. I actually studied carpentry. Right. That's so you don't hit your fingers. You don't bang your thumb. That's simple. We just found out. His fingers are going to be good now. His thumb's going to be good now. He's like, now I know. Oh, my Lord. Yeah. You know, sometimes we don't know. I don't know. Uh-oh. Who messaged me? Oh. Thank you, Linda. Okay. Let's keep moving along here. Dean Scorioko. Man, you guys got some names. All right. For those unaware, Reuters is owned by the Thompson family of Canada. They are by far the richest family in the country. This is a huge Canadian scandal as well, because Reuters was paid millions of dollars by the U.S. government for large-scale social deception. That is literally what it says on the purchase order. They're a total scam. And these guys benefited from it. So for you Canadians, here's somebody to be mad at. All right. This woman is tired of Jasmine Crockett's drama. Jasmine, let's cut through the glam and get real. Here we go.
Our job is to conduct oversight. We both serve on the oversight committee. Now, y'all know he likes to pal around with Putin, right? He's trying to turn us into Russia. But I got news for him. We, the people, will not go.
Y'all can't be this like naive to listen to her and all her and the nails and the lashes and the wigs. Like, that ain't phasing nobody, sis. We got questions, okay? Okay? The hood got questions, Lashes. We got questions, sis. Jazzy. Well, if you are oversight, sweetie, if you're oversight, what happened to all the dollars in Social Security that people were paid out who were 150 years old? That's like why she's trying to come up with he likes to pal around with Putin. We've been there, done that. We talked about Russia. That was 2016, sis. That ain't gonna work this time. Oh, Elon Musk is trying to tear up the Constitution. The Federal Department of Education is not in the Constitution, sis. It's not. Well, we the people elected Donald Trump, and we the people said we want to see what y'all doing with our money. And they mad. They mad. Talking about Mr. Trump. Girl, you can't even stand in his presence, sis. These are billionaires. They were billionaires before they got a government check. I don't even think Donald Trump is even getting a government check. He probably has never even had a government check. But these are billionaires before you even came around, Lashes, Wig, okay? So cut it out. Cut the BS. The American people don't care nothing about you being cool. They don't care nothing about you doing all of this. Where is the money, sis? Where is it? Because the hood ain't got it. We ain't got it. So all that, save it. Save it. Save it for Nancy Mace. We got questions.
We got questions. Yep. So your nails, your lashes, and your wigs might turn heads, but they don't answer the tough questions we've got. If you're in oversight, explain why Social Security is paying out to folks that are 150 years old. Explain it. Explain it, woman. Explain it. Peter Navarro, Jesse Waters.
The president made history. This is the day that the complete restructuring of the international trading system began with the fair and reciprocal plan. Jesse, it's really simple. The rest of the world cheats us. They steal our jobs. They steal our factories. They damage our defense industrial base and ultimately steal our national security. President today said, no more. And if you would indulge me, I want to tell you a little story about the problem we face. You take Europe, right? We run a $230 billion trade deficit, much of it in the auto industry. So think about a Cadillac rolling off the assembly line in Lansing, Michigan, going over Bremerhaven and trying to sell into the German market. It's a $50,000 car when it starts here. It goes over there, they slap a 10% tariff on us, which is 4 times more than our tariff on them. Then they put the VAT tax on, the value added tax, which acts just like a tariff. It's another 19%. So by the time the car Cadillac gets there, it's $65,000. We had to sell it at $65,000. A BMW comes off the assembly line in Leipzig, comes over here, right? We slap a modest 2.5% tariff on. That's about $1,000. So it's up to $51,000. But then the German government rebates their 19% VAT tax, and they're able to sell that BMW for $42,000 versus $65,000 Cadillac. Now, that differential explains why Germany sells us 8 times more cars than we sell them, and that stuff has got to stop. So what the fair and reciprocal plan does is going to look at every country in the EU we run a big trade deficit with. We're going to find out exactly how they're cheating us with both tariffs and what the boss calls non-monetary barriers. And then the Secretary of Commerce, Lutnick, the great Howard Lutnick, and Jameson Greer, the new USTR, who used to work for the great Bob Lighthizer, and Greer is a force of nature. They're going to determine for the president a reciprocal tariff that captures that unfairness, Jesse, and they're going to put that tariff on, or those folks are going to back down and treat America fair. And this, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a conservative, a liberal, a Democrat, Republican. Everybody should embrace the fair and reciprocal.
I mean,
plan. It's a
even Joe
beautiful
Biden
thing.
could understand that story you told, Peter, and every American president has the opportunity to do it. Why is Donald Trump the only American president to get this and actually do something about it?
There's two very simple answers. First, he's a master chess player. He actually understands this. Secondly, what I loved about Donald Trump, and that's why in 2016 I immediately reached out and said, hey, if you need my help, I'm here, is he didn't have to depend on all the corporate money that wants to send our jobs offshore and open up our borders to cheap labor. He was not bought by anybody. So what he is doing is good for America. That's his vision. That's why it took so long. We've sold this country out, Jesse. You know this. We've sold this country out for 40 or 50 years with SHAFTA and NAFTA and letting China into the World Trade Organization. We run $1 trillion deficit every year, and the trade deficit, and that money's then used to buy our factories, to buy our land, to buy our real estate, to buy our farms and all that stuff. And Donald Trump says that's not going to happen anymore. So fair trade, the fair reciprocal plan, and the tariff word is a beautiful thing. Reciprocal tariffs, as the president said today, is very beautiful. And before I leave, I want to go ahead.
No. I was going to say it's beautiful politically because Democrats can get on board too.
Yeah. Look, this is not a right or left thing, a Democrat, Republican. It's an American thing. If you love America, then you want jobs here and factories here and a strong defense industrial base, so you'll be safe, secure, and prosperous. And you know what, Jesse? That's what we had in the first term.
All right. Where was I? So that guy that O'Keefe caught on camera from U.S. Treasury Policy Advisor is, I'll just play it. Here you go.
I'm going to have to decline to be named.
We intend to name you, Nate.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm a reporter, and I think that people deserve to know the things that you've said. I'm not even saying you're a bad guy. I think a lot of what you said makes sense.
Do not publish my name. I'm not giving permission.
I am going to do this story, with or without your permission.
Hi, this is Nate Johnson.
Hey, Nate Johnson. Hey, my name is James O'Keefe. I just wanted to talk to you for a minute. We have some quotes from you.
I don't think I've given any quotes. So.
Yes, you have. You one of the girls that you spoke with, that you met online, actually works for me, and you talked extensively about Elon Musk, Doge, and how some things they're doing at Treasury are, in your colleague's opinion, unlawful. So I just want to talk to you and hopefully encourage you to speak on the record and talk to me more about this.
I'm sorry. No, I'm going to have to decline. I'm going to have to decline to be named.
You're on a hidden camera saying all these things. You're talking about how a lot of your colleagues in the government don't do a whole lot. You say this. You're on video, and we're gonna.
I don't believe I've said that.
Yes, you have. I have a direct quote from you saying that quote, "There are people I've known who've been working for the government for 40 years and they don't do much. I hate to say it, but I know a few of them. I think they, Doge, target us because it's an easy target. No one's quitting. Everyone's dug in their feet. Everyone's essentially dug in their feet and said, like, you're going to have to fire me." We have you on video saying that.
Okay, again, I'm going to have to decline to be named. So,
well, we intend to name you, Nate.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm a reporter, and I think that people deserve to know the things that you've said. And I would encourage you to speak to me and sit down with me in a sit-down interview.
Again, I'm going to have to decline.
But why would you decline that? You've spoken to a complete stranger and shared all these things to them. Why not speak now publicly? Why not talk to a reporter about the things that you told a stranger? You've already said the things to someone that you barely know. You work for the Treasury Department. I have you as being a policy advisor.
I'm sorry. No. I'm not going to answer any more questions.
But you've already answered dozens of questions from a total stranger. Do you know what it looks like when you won't speak to me, a reporter, but you will share all this information about the Treasury Department to a complete stranger?
I'm sorry. What's your name again?
My name is James O'Keefe. You guys always do this. What's my name? You're at the Treasury Department. You specialize in foreign policy on the monitoring and enforcement team. Do you not? Okay, I guess I got that one right, didn't I? Because you didn't correct.
No, again, I'm not answering any questions.
Why not? What are you afraid of?
I'm not answering any questions.
You've already answered many questions by a girl in a restaurant who is wearing a hidden camera. So what is it? What do you think it's going to look like to the American people when you keep saying you're not answering questions after you just answered loads of questions by a total stranger?
Yes.
This is only one of the most important public policy issues in a generation, with Elon Musk and Doge coming in doing what they're doing. I'm not even saying you're a bad guy. I think a lot of what you said makes sense. But I am going to do this story with or without your permission, and I would ask, and I would like you to speak to me. And that's the last time I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to leave you alone. I'm giving you the last opportunity to come on record and talk to me.
No, I'm not going to answer any questions. I'm sorry. I again am going to ask that you do not publish my name. I'm not giving permission for anyone to publish my name.
Listen, I'm an investigative reporter. I don't get permission from people. That's not what I do. I don't. This is the public's right to know, Nate. And you were a policy advisor at Treasury since February 2023. You worked for BJ Kang Law PC. You're an attorney, a law clerk in Alexandria. You're the chief executive officer of 901ers Incorporated, according to your LinkedIn. And you're a finance intern for Kate Schroeder. And we have you on tape saying, you hate to say it, but I know a few of them, quote, they don't do much. People in the government working 40 years, they don't do much. This is what you said.
I'm not answering questions.
And I'm running this story. I think the people need to know what's happening inside the government. And I recognize you saying that Doge having access to Treasury due to risks to national security. You say it possibly could be a risk to national security. You say Elon is doing this because he, quote, really cares about money more than they do the country. Do you think Elon Musk cares more about money than the country?
I don't believe I ever said that. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to decline. I'm declining to speak to you any further.
Quote, because he's showing he really cares about money. He being Elon Musk.
Goodbye.
So you still care more about yourself than about money. This is the words that we have on video. I work for the Treasury. You hung up the phone. Now, we are talking to many people inside the federal government to get them to go public on the record, despite their fears of retaliation, hoping that the heads of these agencies will have their back. More on that soon. And if you're inside the government, you know who to call. Contact us securely on our Signal number or send us a DM to any of our accounts. Reporting from West Palm Beach, Florida, at the new headquarters of O'Keefe Media Group and Citizen Journalism Foundation, this is James O'Keefe.
Yeah. If those of you that work at 23andMe, you should probably give a heads up to your people because now everybody knows that you sell their data. Yeah. You know, Elon Musk says if any judge anywhere can stop every presidential action everywhere, we do not live in a democracy. Truth enough. Yeah. All right. Incite outrage through fame, I suppose. Never cared for him on the screen, so no big loss. Shadow of Ezra put this up last night, and I had to respond to it. Washed up actor John Leguizamo jumps to the defense of illegal immigration, claiming that police are targeting Native Americans and indigenous Latinos under the new law. Then he claims that, we'll listen to his bullshit for a minute. Here we go.
So now with the new Florida law that police officers can arrest anyone who they think is an undocumented immigrant, they're not targeting criminals who are undocumented. They are just attacking Native Americans, indigenous Latinos who profile to them as undocumented. So it's not really, it was never really about getting criminals. I was just about getting Latin immigrants who are undocumented out of the country. And now they're going to send them to Guantanamo Bay, which will be our first concentration camp set up by America. The Fourth Reich is taking over, y'all. We got to stand up, fight against this, speak out. Even if you voted for Trump and now you regret your vote, this is the time to act out and make up for your transgression.
Another one. You regret
so
your
now
vote?
With the new Florida.
I mean, how many of you regret your vote? Yeah. Yeah. Mexican word of the day. Hide. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. Kyle Becker put this up. CNN claims that Doge hasn't produced any examples of waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, Representative Brian Mast destroys this false media talking point. Here we go.
Hey everybody, Chairman Brian Mast, House Foreign Affairs Committee. Got another edition of wasteful spending from, you guessed it, USAID. Let's get into the numbers. $849,000 plus for a transgender job fair in Bangladesh, where the median monthly income is about $220 a month. Nearly $2 million for sex change surgeries in Guatemala by a trans-led organization. $55 million to strengthen Libyan public financial management processes. $31.5 million to help USAID employees with counseling, organizational resilience, wellness, and work-life balance. That's a lot of money for work-life balance there. $20 million to create a Sesame Street program in Iraq. $4.1 million to create a Bangladesh Sesame Street program. Another $5.2 million to create a Nigerian Sesame Street pilot program. A lot of money going to these little puppet Muppets in these foreign countries. $3.9 million to teach essential life skills through Bangladeshi Muppets, more Muppets. $22 million to increase tourism in Tunisia and Egypt. Man, we want to spend a lot of money on their tourism. We should be spending that on American tourism, maybe. $520 million to pay ESG consultants to teach people in Africa about countering climate change. $24.4 million to build green transportation alternatives in the country of Georgia. $29 million to diversify crop agriculture in the country of Georgia. $4.5 million to teach individuals in Kazakhstan how to fight back against internet trolls. $1.3 million to create a comfortable environment for LGBTQ people in North Macedonia. $420,000 to build solar panels in Djibouti. $18,793 to help LGBTQ individuals vote in the 2021 Honduras elections. $5 million to reduce carbon emissions in China. Yeah, we're giving China $5 million there. $5.5 million to improve the lives of LGBTQ individuals in Uganda. $23,000 to host DEI recruitment seminars in San Martin and in Lima, Peru. $65,700,000 $700,000 for vasectomies in the Congo. I don't even like that word. $595,000 to empower Uganda's LGBT community to push back against anti-LGBTQ legislation. $4.3 million to provide services for men who have sex with men in South Africa. I have no idea why they wrote it that way. $15 million to identify and enhance the leadership of LGBTQ leaders in Cambodia. We're resurrecting leaders there for millions of dollars. $100,000 to conduct a DEI survey in Ghana. $50,000 to create a DEI fellowship in Uzbekistan. $30,000 for DEIA facilitated conversations in Senegal. There is a new list of all of the ways that USAID is wasting your money on top of all of the old ones that we gave you already. Time for change, everybody. The change is coming.
And he's going to be doing, and from my understanding,
Hey everybody, Chairman Brian Mast, House Foreign Affairs.
An update pretty much like every day. You know, and I think that that's phenomenal. Let's see, did he do another one since then?
In Ghana.
Yeah, I think we've seen this one. Yeah, we saw that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when he gets his next one, when he does his next one, I will make sure I grab it. I'm following him. So, all right. Let's hear Tulsi Gabbard.
Here is something that the political establishment and propaganda media don't want you to know. Ukraine's President Zelensky has just banned yet another political opposition party, one that questioned his legitimacy as president, and used Ukraine's Department of Justice to mandate the seizure of this party's members' assets. Now, this is just the latest of Zelensky's actions to do this sort of thing. He began banning major political opposition parties in 2022, when he also started banning TV channels that were associated with his political opponents. And he took over total control of Ukraine's largest television networks, now controlled by their government. Zelensky's presidential term ended on May 20th. He canceled elections in the name of martial law, suspending Ukraine's constitution so that he could stay in power. Now, defenders of Zelensky will say, hey, Ukraine is in the middle of a war. They can't have elections. Just stop for a moment and think, if we accept that excuse or criteria for suspending the Constitution and canceling elections, then we should presume that leaders in our own country and our own establishment media will also use this same excuse and rationale when they suspend our Constitution and our elections, since we too are at war with Russia and China. If you think this sounds crazy, look at what's already going on. They've already started conditioning us to accept a dictatorship by rationalizing their own use of our Department of Justice to target President Trump and other political enemies in their efforts to stay in power.
Yeah. It's a good question. Where are the arrests? Yeah. You know.
Here's examples of some of the instruction manuals here. 1 and 2, in order to destabilize nations. In addition to that, they advocated for setting up job fairs near some of these rights so that disaffected workers could gain employment. Now, as a member of Congress, I ask myself, did anyone in USAID get elected to Congress? How about to a presidency? When you are acting in the shadows and you are destabilizing nations using race wars to do it and then advocating that the military does it, in my opinion, not only do you put the future generations that would have to fight in those wars in jeopardy, but at the end of the day, you're operating without any oversight. Here's examples of some of the...
Yeah, made a good point. Yep. So, all right. How many of you, by show of your hands? Oh, yeah, I'm not even going to get into that one. That's Yeah, I remember what that one was about. Another American citizen is being kicked out of Mexico and deported to America. Democrats don't want you to see other countries, especially Mexico, enforcing immigration policies. She went for medical care, but was caught without her passport, so she was deported to America. Every other country is allowed to enforce immigration policies except America. Yeah.
You get kicked out of Mexico.
I am getting kicked out of Mexico.
You get kicked out of Mexico.
Yeah. Just went there to get some cosmetic surgery done, and yeah. So, all right, back to it. Absolutely, we still haven't discovered just how much the media was paid and controlled by the government, but we will. Michael Schellenberger says they said the government was by and for the people and the media was free. They weren't. Here we go.
You say in your testimony, PSYOP tactics being used by the U.S. and U.K. military against the American people. That is really scary stuff reading that. Could you elaborate? Because I think the American people need to hear, they need to hear about this.
Yeah, we now know what happened, which is that basically after the war on terror, the United States used counterterrorism, counterinsurgency, counterpopulism tactics first in the Middle East as part of the Arab Spring uprisings, then in the Eastern Europe as part of the color revolutions, using social media to foment revolutions against places that we wanted regime change, and then using censorship in places to repress conflicting opinion in places that we were trying to stabilize. Those tactics were then turned against the American people after the populist revolutions of 2016. First, you saw Russiagate, the idea, this wild conspiracy theory that President Trump was somehow controlled through a sex blackmail operation by the Russians. But then we also saw a very elaborate effort to do exactly what they had done abroad, creating small committees of experts to decide what the truth was and demand censorship on the basis of it. But I also mentioned there's also these proactive influence operations, the most dramatic of which is the Hunter Biden laptop, severely illegal, but we also saw the mobilization of the intelligence community. And now in the latest article that we published today, we have documented that the Agency for International Development has overseen basically a takeover over the last decade and a half of independent investigative journalism in Europe and around the world through OCCRP and supposedly independent journalism organizations with an eye to basically controlling the information and controlling the major news media that do investigative journalism.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for the work that you have done over the last couple of Congresses on this issue.
Mr. Schellenberger, can you explain how you traced USAID funding that served as the basis for whistleblower report in 2019, which led to the impeachment of President Trump?
Sure. Well, you may remember that the so-called whistleblowers in the White House was actually a CIA analyst. And in that whistleblower's complaint, which led to the impeachment, one of the central pieces of evidence was created by a USAID funded and controlled organization called the OCCRP. And we have another piece out today about how it participated in the Russiagate hoax as well, creating essentially very important information leading to that. So, you have in USAID a much larger fund of money and a much broader strategy for information control that included censorship, but also, as I mentioned, taking control of investigative journalism really worldwide. Its ambitions were, amazing. So yeah, that's an agency. When we saw that get shut down by DOJ, I thought that was completely appropriate. If there's something in there that it was doing that's valuable, then you could refund it later. But my view, same thing with CISA, death penalty for organizations that participated in violations of the First Amendment like CISA. Cybersecurity is an extremely important function. It shouldn't be contaminated and undermined by censorship activities.
I think it's always been known that our government has funded the change in administrations, if we can say it politely, of other governments. But isn't it borderline treason when the taxpayer when organizations entrusted with protecting our country are now undermining our own government?
Absolutely. If you're trying to do regime change, illegal, if you're weaponizing DHS, FBI, CISA, that's treasonous regime change activities redirected, that you developed abroad, that we developed abroad for regime change, directed against the American people and our representatives. I mean, it's shocking, and we still haven't dealt with it as a country.
Mr. Schellenberger, you mentioned that USAID, which has been in the news of late, spending taxpayer money on all kinds of stupid things, is also involved in the censorship effort. I want you to just elaborate on that a little bit, because this is going on as we speak. I want you to elaborate on that for the committee, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to understand that USAID viewed this very holistically. And it's important, if you look at the Hunter Biden laptop case, which is an extremely important case to understand, because the FBI was weaponized, then it weaponized the Aspen Institute to brainwash the entire media. It wasn't just that they censored it. It was that they changed the perception of the laptop. They created the perception that it was something other than what it obviously was. And that's what these guys are trying to do. These are called information operations. And USAID has been in the process of taking over so-called independent investigative journalism around the world. And at the same time, then training NGOs how to demand censorship. For example, Mr. Aaron's organization has been working to train organizations to so-called flag misinformation behind the scenes. By the way, it's one thing to criticize somebody publicly, which we should all be engaged in.
Yeah.
But this thing where you're skulking around,
We do that all the
and
time.
secretly, yeah, that's what open democracy is. This thing of going out and like secretly flagging information behind the scenes and demanding censorship, that's completely an abomination. That is not what
I just
our
want to be clear.
democracy is about.
You're saying USAID, your investigation is now engaged in this pre-bunking kind of concept and process that they did with the laptop story in the fall of 2020.
And it's the exact same approach as well, where often what they're doing, for example, with USAID, OCCRP, is that they're leaking intelligence from the intelligence agencies and not like WikiLeaks where they just dumped it, I think probably too much without the proper redactions, but they're strategically leaking it and then manipulating places like The Guardian and the New York Times to publish certain stories and control the whole investigative news process.
And we saw this from Yoel Roth's testimony. He testified during these weekly meetings that federal law enforcement communicated to us there was going to be hack and leak operations before the presidential election, likely in October. We had these, so that what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and then they said here who it's going to involve, that there were rumors that the hack and leak operation would involve Hunter Biden. So they set them all up. And then Shazam, they set them all up because they had the laptop, they knew what was coming. And when it happens, everyone buys into what the 51 former intel officials say.
Yep. Right. It's good. Met this man walking in the rain.
If you had one thing to say to people right now, what would you say? If you only had one thing you can say right now. I don't mean to put you on the spot like that.
You ready?
And the reason, yeah.
Blessed is the child that has his own. Get your own. That's the greatest. And God is Alpha and Omega. And I'm going to sing just a piece of song to you. And don't forget. I'm so encouraged that whatever you want to do, girl, it's all right with me. Girl, you make me feel so bad, baby. And I want to spend my life with you. Oh, baby, let's stay together. Loving you well. Times up good, bad, happy, sad. Stay with me. Oh, baby, can't you see? Let's stay together. Let's stay together.
Man, that's powerful, man. Man, I wish the best for you, man. I tell you what, better is yet to come.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
It's a reason we cross paths right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you now, you got to get, that's your gift.
Oh, yeah.
That's your gift. You know that.
I got 12 miles on the car. I got that lady with cancer in the car with me. And I don't even get no money till tomorrow night, so we got to go all the way down to 20. I got to take her back.
How long you been singing?
All my life.
Yeah. Where you from?
I was born in Chicago, but I've been down here since 1963. Mama brought down here. I just buried my mother. She had cancer. Now I'm helping the lady now that's got cancer. She's in the car with me.
There we go. Man, I wish the best for you. What's your name for the people out there, man?
My name is Garcia.
This might go all around the world. You never know.
My name is Garcia Williams. I'm a singer. I'm a gospel singer, but when I sing uptown, they want to sing Al Green because we signed them for life. But I didn't ask for that, so I had to stay home because I see God working with me. And when I see people smile, money can't pay for a smile. I go on top of the roof and sing for one individual. They just smile. I sing for souls. I buy myself because God take my gift away. I sing for anybody and everybody. Just to see another human being smile, money can't take that. Some people ain't smile today. Some people ain't spoke today. I speak to everybody. I don't know better than anybody. And I sing for everybody, anybody, any soul. Ain't no color. God is rainbow. Blessed is the child that has it on.
Amen.
Brother got some pipes. You know what I'm saying? He got some pipes. He sounded just like Al Green. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you mean to tell me that people are mad at Elon Musk for finding all of this money, but nobody is mad at the Democrats for losing, for stealing, for spending, for laundering this money or whatever they've been doing with it? See, the reality of it is, whether you like him or not, the money that Elon Musk is finding belongs to you too. So you should be thanking him instead of hating him. And call me crazy, but Doge is one of the best things that has happened to America in a very long time. The corruption that goes on in that office is deeper than you can imagine. And it's so crazy because a lot of people are moving with emotion right now, that nobody is using logic and asking themselves the simplest of questions, such as, how are these people net worth way more than their annual salary and they're only politicians? See, a lot of people are not going to ask themselves their questions because they're so busy in their feelings asking who voted for Elon. Well, obviously, a lot of us voted for Elon, which is why he's in office doing a hell of a job making America wealthy again.
Yep. You think about it, some people make, maybe 10,000 a year take home. Some people make 20,000 a year. Some people make 50 or 100,000 a year. You think about how much money gets taken out of what you earn, and they waste it. They waste it, Here we go.
The Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets has been organized under the House Oversight Committee and represents a historic step towards transparency and delivering answers to the American people. President Trump has already taken steps to deliver to the American people information that for far too long has been kept under the federal government's lock and key through classification. Under Executive Order 14176, President Trump has directed the federal government to prepare reports regarding the declassification of records regarding the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. The task force will also examine agencies' knowledge and possession of documents regarding other areas of significant public interest, including UAPs, the origins of COVID-19, the Epstein client list, and details surrounding the death of Osama bin Laden in Operation Neptune Spear. Our first hearing is March and will focus on the assassination of President Kennedy. We have already engaged with relevant agencies to provide briefings this month regarding the universe of documents connected to these areas of interest. Upon receiving these briefings, we'll move immediately to review documents and, if necessary, earmark them for release to the American people. The task force will travel as necessary to conduct research and meet with relevant witnesses and experts who may also be called to speak in a public setting. We will work closely with the committee to provide transparency through hearings, reports, and the release of documents. It's important to note that we don't have documents yet, and we also don't hold declassification authority. The task force seeks to operate with coordination with the administration to ensure that the American people receive the documents needed to answer questions that we have been all asking for far too long. We will regain the trust of the American people through transparency.
Then just release them. Period. Hang on a second. You want to give the appearance of 100% transparency, then just release them. Just release the documents. We don't need the government to look at them. They've been looking at them for fucking generations. Just release them. All right.
One of the reasons DC is so gross is because it seems to be a town that is completely subsidized by the United States taxpayer, okay? Let me give you an example. We all know the USAID scandal, which basically rocked America when we found out that hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars of US taxpayer money was basically being funneled to a global network of these NGOs, these pseudo nonprofits, etc. Now, I want to take it down to another level. Say you're some talentless person that, just has some degree, but is very well connected, and you can get appointed as the executive director of one of these NGOs or one of these nonprofits and make about $300,000 to $500,000 a year. Not bad, right? Look at some of the salaries these people are making. Now, imagine you're doing that for 3, 5, 7, 10, 15, 20 years, right? Now, imagine your wife was able to get the same position at yet another do-nothing nonprofit that was funded entirely by the United States taxpayer. You're looking at a $500,000 to $800,000 plus annual income funded totally by the United States taxpayer. So when you look at these townhouses and these beautiful condos and all of these things, and you imagine who is paying for these $3 to $5 million townhomes, who can afford this? Well, number one, it's you, the United States taxpayer, that is paying for all of these things. That is why we're hearing so much screeching from the left, because their money laundering operation is being.
This is Rob Smith, by the way. I want to see if he did a continuation. No, he didn't. Damn. I like his way of thinking, So Donald Trump said, and this was yesterday, I think, that this was Doge has found massive amounts of fraud, waste, and incompetence and abuse. But even knowing this, a highly political activist judge wants us to immediately make payment anyway. In other words, pay even though the payment was fraudulently requested to be made. Doge caught them. The judge just doesn't care. It doesn't make sense. Yep. Yeah. Enough is enough. Yeah. And then there's this guy, Latino rapper, laughs as he says that they need to start kidnapping ICE agents. What?
You know what's crazy? I actually have a crazy story. So on the day of the protest, some OG ass Mexican fool was right there, like while I was on the freeway and shit. And he came up to me and he was like, "Hey, bro, you know what we're gonna have to do, right?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Well, right now we're in history because that's just gonna go in the history books for sure." Just thinking about that, like everyone took over the freeway, like that's just gonna be in the history books for sure. So I think this OG told me like, he's like, "Hey, you know what we have to do, right?" And I'm like, "What do we have to do?" He's like, "We're gonna have to start going at the ICE agents. Like we're gonna have to start taking the ICE agents out and shit until they understand
what do you
that
mean,
we aren't to be played with."
Well, what do you mean, like going
take out the ICE agents?
Like going to war?
These fools are right there throwing shit at the cops, taking the whole freeway, burning flags. Like they're already getting there, bro. It's not like it's so far fetched. You know what I mean? Like if it gets to the point where everyone's gonna ruin our own city and shit, why not?
Wait, he's saying that
we have to tie up the ICE agents, bro. Basically, dog. Till we make a message.
We're gonna have to what?
Tie up the ICE agents.
What?
The people that are deporting people, that are grabbing our people, we're gonna have to tie them the fuck up, beat them the fuck up, tell Donald Trump, motherfucker, you gonna stop this shit or else.
It's that serious?
I think it is. Bro, did you see the videos of them?
So are you in favor of that? Are you in favor of our gente going to war with ICE agents and pretty much kidnapping these fools and sending a message to Trump? That's what you're telling me right now.
Okay, Okay, I'm gonna keep it a buck. The homies in the back have advised me not to answer this question.
You do you. You do you. You speak your mind.
Look, I'm gonna be real. This fucking question is gonna get me viral, but fucking, I'm gonna tell the truth. Look, dog. What else are we gonna do, dog?
Yeah. Well, about that. Thank you, Cersei. This gentleman, he, I'll let him tell you.
I don't care if I'm called a racist or not, but let me put it right on the line. We do not want the illegal immigrants in this country, and they should go straight back to where they came from. A friend of mine just called me from Munich who witnessed an event. He could have been hit by the car. Thankfully, it missed him but hit others. He is of non-German descent, according to my friend, because he spoke clearly in Arabic to the policeman. Now, my friend speaks Arabic, and what he said shocked me. This is only the start, the man said. Only the start. Allah will prevail. You work that one out for yourself. And if you want to arrest me for that, please, then come and arrest me, because I don't give a shit anymore. Because the quicker we get these illegals back to where they came from and start destabilising our Christian countries, the better. There you are. I've said it now. Go back home. See you on the other side.
I think people are getting tired of it. Yep. This is a pretty interesting piece here. Here we go.
There's been a break-in at the IRS. Doge just kicked in the door and ordered executives to put their hands where they can see them. There was an ultimatum. We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Doge workers arrived today. Gavin Klager and others arrived today at the IRS. Do you expect to close the IRS, or what are you expecting?
No, I don't expect it, but I think that the Internal Revenue Service will be looked at like everybody else. Just about everybody's going to be looked at. So it's they're doing a hell of a job. It's an amazing job they're doing. And you know, that force is building these, I call it the force of super geniuses, but it's building. And you know, they go up and they talk to some of the people about certain deals, and the people get all tongue-tied. They can't talk because these people get it. They're very smart people. We need smart people.
Big Balls is making bureaucrats tongue-tied. What's this contract for? Terminated. Next up is NASA. Elon's nerd army is reviewing their spending. I have a feeling we're going to find NASA isn't all about outer space. If agencies can't justify their headcount, Musk's planning on slashing every department by 30 to 40%. If Doge finds an unused federal building, they're going to sell it and put the profits in the piggy bank. Trump has his eyes on 14,000 vacant federal buildings. So if you want to live in an 80,000 square foot estate at the foot of the Potomac that's been collecting cobwebs for 6 decades, put in a bid. The government has more money than it knows what to do with. We just found out we're funding Palestinian hip hop.
I uncovered over $3 million to a rap artist in Gaza producing anti-Israel, anti-Semitic songs. Is that the best use of American taxpayer dollars? I would venture not.
And here's who got the money.
Mama, Gaza's getting bombed, but nobody's saying it. I'm kinda getting scared now, but nobody's getting it. See, they terrorize my days, but say that I'm the terrorist. How can I be the terrorist? Do you know a terrorist? Cause all my life I've been terrorized, so I can't be the terrorist. But sometimes I wish I was aborted, ripped out of my mother's wombs. I know I'm sick in the morbid, but they cannibals, they animals, they grilling our organs. Auschwitz reincarnated, brought back to life by the victims that were burned by the Nazi lights.
We sent $3 million to Kanye West Bank, his organization. We're paying Palestinians to rap about the bombs we sold Bibi. American taxpayers are like bookies. We're on both sides of every deal. We spent $20 billion to freak out a bunch of pets.
Injecting puppies with cocaine, staging hamster fight clubs, putting dead turtles on treadmills. Cats have marbles shoved up their rectums and are electroshocked to make them defecate in constipation experiments. Examine the effects of party drugs on animals injected with testosterone.
Who are we buying the cocaine from? I can get a gram from Gutfeld and give it to Rookie. Why does that cost so much? I can find a dead turtle in a pond, throw it on a treadmill, hit start, watch it keel over. That's free. A hamster fight club? Did they hire Joe Rogan to announce the fight? $20 billion is what Trump asked Congress for to build the border wall. We did this instead. We're also learning through the New York Post, the Department of Health and Human Services wasted $22 billion buying migrants cars and homes and giving them seed money to start businesses. Now Jose has a Cadillac, a bungalow, a side hustle, and a credit score of 740. Did we buy cars and homes for folks in North Carolina after Helene? And Biden's EPA couldn't get the money out the door fast enough.
An extremely disturbing video circulated 2 months ago featuring a Biden EPA political appointee talking about how they were tossing gold bars off the Titanic, rushing to get billions of your tax dollars out the door before Inauguration Day. The gold bars were tax dollars, and tossing them off the Titanic meant the Biden administration knew they were wasting it.
Right before Christmas, Biden's EPA gave the Climate United Fund $7 billion. This climate fund looks like a slush fund to funnel cash to Joe's donors for pet projects. We looked to see who ran the fund and went to the board of directors page. They scrubbed it. It's all gone. They took the money and ran. That's why Trump calls it the Green New Scam. Doge is saving over $1 billion a day chasing this trash down, and Democrats are acting like they're getting carpet bombed.
What does that mean when an unelected billionaire can waltz into our agencies and slash and burn the whole thing to the ground like a Taliban terrorist?
Only a Democrat thinks defunding cocaine puppies is terrorism. Bill Clinton fired almost 400,000 federal bureaucrats. No one called him a terrorist. We called him Slick Willie. And Trump and Elon are offering very generous buyouts. 75,000 workers have already took them up on it. The retirement cave hostages are working 24/7 processing all this paperwork. Trump's doing exactly what Obama wished he did.
One of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending. We don't need to wait for Congress in order to do something about wasteful spending that's out there. Cutting waste, making government more efficient is something that leaders in both parties have worked on. We haven't seen as much action out of Congress as we'd like, and that's why we launched on our own initiative the campaign to cut waste.
So Obama said he didn't need to wait for Congress to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. That's funny. The New York Times has always covered government waste under Obama, Clinton, Bush, everybody. Yesterday, the Times reported the federal government loses between 233 to 521 billion a year to fraud. And in the same week, the Times writes this headline: Musk asserts without proof that bureaucracy is rife with fraud. Without proof, the Times just reported the proof. And it's based on the government's own accounting. This is why no one trusts the media. Finally, Trump hired a rocket scientist with an IT department to root out the fraud, and the Democrats are against it.
Who the hell voted for Mr. Musk? Who the hell voted for, excuse the phrase, a guy who calls himself Big Balls?
No one voted for Musk. So what? No one voted for Fauci either. You voted for the president, and he appoints people. And why are we even having this conversation? Trump ran on reform and won on it with Musk at his side. And Musk is doing everything under a national spotlight. He's not hiding in the shadows like Soros, financing open borders and crime waves. These people are never going to learn. After getting humiliated by the Russia hoax, Maddow's back to spreading conspiracies.
Elon Musk has apparently somehow convinced the United States government, specifically the United States Department of State, that the taxpayers of the United States of America should spend $400 million buying, quote, armored Tesla production units. Isn't it great and definitely not at all illegal or profoundly corrupt? Definitely not ripping us all off to pay themselves, right?
Donald Trump didn't give that contract to Elon Musk. Joe Biden gave it to him. Even liberals are calling Maddow out. The 400 million armored Tesla story is a fake scandal in a sea of real graft and horror. And there's a difference between Musk winning competitive bids to provide armored trucks to diplomats in dangerous countries and contracts going to Greek DEI consultants, Caribbean sex change surgeries, and hamster cage fights. Rachel should stick to working Mondays. This 5 days a week thing's not working out for her. Teslas are made in America. The State Department asked for them, unlike trans musicals or Sesame Street in Iraq. No one asked for that. Most of the country wants that stuff cut, and Democrats should too.
People want the government to work better. They believe that Mr. Musk, one of the most extraordinary entrepreneurs in human history, who does not fail at just about anything, they want him to do this. Most Americans, they wanted Trump. They elected him. Democrats are only focused on one thing right now, Mr. Musk. The fact of the matter, he's quite popular. He has the largest platform in human history, which is, of course, Twitter/X. And I think we're missing the boat as Democrats, and Democrats are being steamrolled.
This isn't just about money. It's about people behind the scenes abusing power they don't have to finance sick and twisted fantasies like migrant shopping sprees and sex changes and reverse racism and injecting narcotics into animals. Doge is a blessing from the heavens above. The Wall Street Journal puts it this way, quote, Elon Musk's glorious rampage through official Washington is like something from a dream. Even Ronald Reagan, the great apostle of smaller government, couldn't achieve in 8 years what Mr. Musk has done in 3.5 weeks. The billionaire businessman is less apostle than avenging angel. The Department of Government Efficiency is the change we've been waiting for. The Democrats got caught cold in the middle of a bank heist. Doge walked into the vault. Democrats were stuffing wads of cash in their bags, and they're mad that Musk is telling them to put the bags down. The bank robbers aren't the victims here. The American taxpayers are.
If you rob a jewelry store and you get caught, do you get to keep the diamonds? Nope, you don't. Here you go.
This U.S. politician makes an average of $24 million every single month. According to Google, Congressman Michael McCaul lives in a $10 million mansion. This is where he keeps his $1.1 million car collection, including his Rolls-Royce Wraith and a Ferrari 488 GTB. He even bought a $20 million private jet to fly from his mansion in Texas to his job in Washington, D.C. In the past 3 years alone, Michael McCaul has traded $576 million in the stock market. If you want to see these trades, go to my website, boursefinance.com. This U.S. politician,
yep, you heard that right,
makes an average of $24 million every single month.
Every single month.
According to Google, Congressman Michael McCaul lives in a $10 million mansion.
Lives in a $10 million mansion.
This is where he keeps his $1.1 million car.
His $1.1 million car collection.
Including his Rolls-Royce Wraith and a Ferrari 488 GTB. He even bought a $20 million
and a $20 million jet.
Private jet to fly from his mansion in Texas to his job in Washington, D.C. In the past 3 years alone, Michael McCaul has
$576.19 million. Yeah.
Traded $576 million in the stock market. If you want to see these trades, go to my website, Bourse Finance.
There you go. There's the. So, and I believe he does a whole bunch of different politicians. These kids, these 19-year-olds, setting up things to watch people and see where things are. Yep. Good job there, young man. Absolutely. All right. Let me introduce you to, this is not big balls, by the way. Doge are American heroes. They are saving America's taxpayers billions daily. The Dems complain that they are too young, yet they don't mind sending our 18-year-olds to war.
This is Luke Farrader, a 23-year-old kid from Nebraska working with Elon Musk and Doge to cut wasteful government spending. And last year, he was awarded $700,000 for deciphering an ancient scroll using AI. The scroll was damaged during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, and Luke, with a few classmates, used 3D scans and machine learning to virtually uncrumple the scroll and decipher it. This not only caught the attention of the AI community, but Peter Thiel, who awarded Luke $100,000 to become a Thiel Fellow, where young entrepreneurs are encouraged to pursue their passion like the Ethereum founder and Figma founder. But Luke's now been recruited to work at Doge, where the team's been sleeping in the office, crunching code, and working around the clock to identify waste, fraud, and abuse. And Doge has been under fire for their young age, with people saying they're not qualified. However, Elon seems to disagree, saying we need young guys with a fresh perspective to bring down the machine. And if this kid's smart enough to decipher ancient scrolls with AI, he might be able to crack the government spending problem. What do you think?
That's just that's just one of them.
This is Luke Farrader.
That's just one of them. Let's see if there's, did he make any more? No, I don't see any more. But it's Steve. Hold on, I got to make it big in order to read his dang name. And Steve. Steve Gagzy on TikTok is the guy who made this. I think he did a great job. You know, he just basically found out everything about this kid that he could and put it all there. Yeah. All right. So for those over you there in Great Britain, I thought you guys might find this interesting if you had not seen this. I thought that maybe
you refused a request from the Home Office to house migrants. What did they offer you and why did you turn it down?
Well, it was a considerable amount of money, Beverly. It was probably double what we would normally make on a good year, because they offered full occupancy on a rolling contract for a year.
So how does that work? Somebody literally just picks up the phone to you, or do they send you a letter?
They sent us a letter first.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I thought it was a joke. And
because of the amount of money they were offering.
Well, I just couldn't believe that the government wanted to put, illegal migrants up in four-poster beds at Camelot Castle. I mean, it was absolutely remarkable. It would have destroyed the village because one of the things they said is to lay off all the staff, and all but two, because they do meals on wheels. You clean the rooms once a week.
You're probably a big employer in the village.
Well, a major employer in the village and locally. And of course, those jobs in a village like Tintagel, they wouldn't be replaced.
No.
So, but also they would have stacked the place up with about 300 people. And, you then have those people wandering around the village. I don't know whether they intended to contain them or whether they would be allowed out and about. I know in other areas, certainly hotels in Newquay, have had some serious problems because there were a few hotels that did take the migrants there.
Presumably people who stay at your hotel then spend their money in the village.
Well, of course they do. They do spend their money there, and it would have destroyed the local economy. It's hard to say how many hundreds of thousands of pounds our guests spend in the village, but certainly a fair amount. But it's also the cultural degradation that goes along with this.
So he said no. But, you got to think about it, how many places you guys have over there. Did they, did some place near you maybe sell out, Miss Mindersue said that Donald Trump was signing executive orders. So let's go to the White House feed. As we see, and we're live on Hawks Mustard Seed number 25. White House live. Nope, not there. John Schneider's going live right now. Yeah, I do follow him. So, nope, don't see anything there. So let's check over on here and see if. Nope, the last thing that they posted live was the election. Let's see. Where would it be? Where would it be? Where would it be? Let's see if anybody showing anything. Yes, I'm live right now. Fox. Well, actually, you know what I can do? I think I can, because I can't, let's see. Share, copy, and go here again and reply, paste. She'll get here just in time for me to say hi. All right. Let's see. Anything? Donald Trump. No. One from an hour ago. He was answering questions. Let's see.
Let's go out to some tape playback, though. We are just getting from the White House, President Trump signing those executive orders.
Would or would not happen as far as Ukraine's membership in NATO goes. And then
I haven't heard that. I mean, Roger's a very good friend of mine, and Peter's obviously, he's been doing a great job. I haven't heard. Let me look at, you tell me something I have not heard about.
the question I had is, were you aware of what Secretary Hegseth was going to say in his speech at NATO?
Generally speaking, yeah. Generally speaking, I was. So I'll speak to Roger. I'll speak to Pete. I'll find out.
Mr. President.
The Energy Dominance Council, that's for all forms of energy? Does that include
All
wind and
forms of
solar?
energy, yep.
And the pipeline you mentioned, sir, is that Constitution Pipeline in New York?
Yes.
Can you, is that the
I
project?
believe so, right? Yeah, that's what it is. And, you know, they've been trying to get it for 20 years. And what it means is for New York, upstate New York, and even everywhere in New York, also other states, but in particular, New England, that New England will now, I think, will cut the energy prices, and big cuts in New York too, but cut the energy prices literally in half. We have the permits. We have permits that just about everything we need a New York permit, and I would imagine they'd want to do, because their energy prices will come down so far. And it's a lot of jobs for New York. It's a great thing for New York. Everybody wants it. We'll be meeting with the various governors, Governor of New York, and the other governors too. And we can have it built in about 9 months, and let's say 1 year, but we can actually have it built in pretty close to 9 months. It's all set. We have most of the permits, almost all of the permits.
And on just, you're prioritizing energy dominance today. You've also prioritized trade balance. The oil industry is a little worried about the steel tariffs. I mean, they put 20,000 feet steel in the ground at a well. How will you balance that? Is there a
You're talking about steel and aluminum.
Indeed, steel tariffs.
So the steel, I saved the steel industry in my first term by putting on tariffs because China was dumping massive amounts of steel. Others also, but mostly China. And I put very substantial, we took in $600 billion worth of tariffs from China. No other president's taken up, literally haven't gotten 10 cents from China, not 10 cents. And hundreds of billions of dollars came in from China. And they understood it. They understood what I did. But the dumping stopped. And had I not done that, you wouldn't have one steel mill. I think I can say not one steel mill operating in this country. And we need steel. We need steel. I mean, there are some things you have to have, and steel is one of them for military, et cetera. So I think steel is going to be very strong. It's going to be very strong. I think it'll go back to being really powerful. We saved it. I mean, we were talking about U.S. Steel last week. U.S. Steel would have been closed, totally closed. We saved it. And now it's going to become, I think, very, very profitable. The tariffs are going to save a lot of industries.
Mr. President, US Steel, can I just follow up on US Steel?
Go ahead, finish up.
Is if the Japanese company that's interested in US Steel wants to take a minority stake as opposed to full ownership, is
A
that
minority stake, I wouldn't mind greatly, but what they're doing right now is they're going to be investors, and they're going to be investing in, I think, debt and various other things. But we didn't want to let U.S. Steel go to a foreign company. And U.S. Steel was the greatest company in the world for a period of 15 years. It was, it was the big deal 80 years ago or so. And psychologically, we can't even think about letting that happen. But what is going to happen, and we've already seen it, you see it in the stock price, with the tariffs, U.S. Steel is going to be a real powerhouse again.
Just follow up on Jackie's question about Munich. Vice President Vance's speech to the conference has ruffled quite a few feathers in Europe.
What did he say to ruffle them?
He was talking about the freedom of speech and migration in Europe. Do you believe that European leaders have a fundamentally different view of the world than this administration's?
Well, I heard his speech, and I tell you, you're talking about JD's speech, right?
Yes, sir.
I heard his speech, and he talked about freedom of speech, and I think it's true in Europe. It's losing. They're losing their wonderful right of freedom of speech. I see it. I mean, I thought he made a very good speech, actually, a very brilliant speech. Yeah. And Europe has to be careful. And he talked about immigration. And Europe has a big immigration problem. Just take a look at what's happened with crime. Take a look at what's happening in various parts of Europe. I thought his speech was very well received, actually. I've heard very good remarks.
And in regards to Ukraine as well, yesterday you mentioned that you thought Ukraine's NATO aspirations were one of the main reasons that the war broke out. Who do you blame for the war, Ukraine or Russia?
Well, I think that there were a lot of people to blame. All I can say is very simply, if I were president, that war would never have happened. And you know what else wouldn't have happened? The Middle East wouldn't be all blown up, and October 7th wouldn't have happened either. Those two areas, you wouldn't have inflation, you wouldn't have October 7th, you wouldn't have Russia and Ukraine fighting. None of those things would have happened if I were president.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please.
You mentioned auto tariffs the other day.
Yeah.
When do you plan to unroll?
Howard, I'd say over the next sometime, maybe around April 2nd. I would have done them on April 1st. Believe it or not, I'm a little superstitious. No, literally, we had it planned for April 1st. I said, let's make it April 2nd. You know how much money that costs? That costs a lot of money just that one day. But we're going to do it on April 2nd, I think. Is that right? That's right. Okay. Thank you.
The lead prosecutor in Eric Adams' case resigned today, saying anyone who didn't press forward would be a coward. What's your reaction to that and to the overall implication that politics were at play here?
Well, I don't know about it. I mean, obviously, I'm not involved in that. But I would say this, that if they had a problem, and these are mostly people from the previous administration, you understand, so they weren't going to be there anyway. They were going to all be gone or dismissed. If not, they know on Tuesday they're all being dismissed. The whole country is being, because what you do is you come in and you put new people in. So when you say resign, they're going to be gone anyway. But I know nothing about the individual case. I know that they didn't feel it was much of a case. They also felt that it was unfair with the election. Look, I would know that better than anybody because I was weaponized more than any human being in the history probably of the world. And I won the election in a landslide, winning all 7 swing states, winning the popular vote and everything else, because the people got it. It was weaponized, and I was weaponized literally weeks before the election. But I think there's also something to be said. I read that. There's something to be said for what they were doing. It looked to me to be very political. But why didn't they bring this up like 4 or 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, or whenever it happened? They just sat around and didn't complain. Then all of a sudden they complain, and they know they're all being dismissed anyway. So, that's the way it is. That's called politics, I guess. Yeah, please.
Earlier this week, you predicted that all hell would break loose if Hamas would hand over all of their hostages. What do you expect to happen tomorrow in terms of
I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow at 12 o'clock. It was up to me. I'd take a very hard stance. I can't tell you what Israel's going to do. But I watched the last people come out, And I looked at it before and an after picture. One guy was a big, strong, healthy guy. Could say he was a little bit overweight. He's not overweight anymore. He looks like he just came out of the Holocaust. It looks like a Holocaust picture. I've looked at him for a long time, and they've been treated very badly. The young lady came out last week. Her hand was blown off. I mean, literally, her hand was trying to stop a bullet that was headed for her face. She put up her hand. She goes like this and wiped out her fingers and a lot of her hand. Now, I would take a different stance, but it depends. Look, it depends what Bibi's going to do. It depends what Israel's going to do. But and now I understand they've totally changed. Hamas has totally changed. They want to release hostages now again. But you have to see, this started by them saying, we're not going to release the hostages as we said we were. I said, good. You have till 12 o'clock on Saturday, which is tomorrow at 12 o'clock to do it. And we didn't hear anything. Then all of a sudden, 2 days ago, they said, no, we've decided we're going to release the hostages. So, but I actually think they should release all of the hostages. Remember, they're probably as bad as they looked. I mean, I don't like to say that, but they looked real bad 4 days ago, 5 days ago when I saw them. And the young ladies that came out were treated really badly. You don't know what happened, but I do. They were treated really badly. But as bad as they look, the ones that follow probably will look a lot worse. I think they're sending out their most healthy. And they've been hit hard on that, Hamas. So they probably didn't want to release. But they changed their mind. I said 12 o'clock tomorrow. And all of a sudden, 2 days ago, yesterday, they said, they're going back to releasing. But this all started by them saying, we are not going to release any more hostages. And then yesterday they said they are going to release the hostages. But I think they should release all of the hostages.
About 75,000 workers took this deferred resignation. It's a little bit short of the 5 to 10% goal you were hoping to hit. Do you think you'll have to make up the rest of that number in layoffs?
No, look, that's 75,000 more than we would have had. And nobody knows what that final number is because in the end, I think a lot of people aren't going to show up to work. A lot of people, they got used to staying home and quote, working. But, I wonder if they had other jobs or other things. They have a lot of problems with that. No, 75,000 is a lot of people. And we paid them well. We gave them a lot of months of severance pay, if you call it that. But no, I think you'll probably have some more too, in addition. It's a big, tremendous saving for our. We want to downsize government, but make it better. Run it better, but downsize. Yeah, please.
So, may I ask about the UK? I understand that you had a phone call with Keir Starmer yesterday.
I did. I just signed a letter to him. He asked for a meeting, and I agreed to the meeting. We're going to have a friendly meeting. Very good. We have a lot of good things going on. But he asked to come and see me, and I just accepted his asking.
Do you have a date for that, sir? And what do you hope
Very soon. I think he wants to come next week or the week after.
And what do you hope to discuss?
I don't know. It was his request, not mine. But I've met him twice already. We get along very well. He's a very nice guy. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That was the tape playback version that we had from the White House. Of course, we always got you covered here on Live Now from Fox. What we do want to do is just moments ago as well, as President Trump, just before boarding Air Force One, talked to the media once again. Let's listen to these very brief remarks.
Can't hear him. They're so brief.
I just wanted to let you know that the recruitment numbers are getting to be records. That they're at levels that we haven't seen in many, many years. For the Army, the Navy, Air Force, Marines, the whole thing, the recruitment numbers you're probably hearing, they're at records, so we're really happy about that. Thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to play that one more time, though, just because of the audio coming from Air Force One. We were able to clean it up.
I wanted to let you know that the recruitment numbers are getting to be records, that they're at levels that we haven't seen in many, many years. For the Army, the Navy, Air Force, Marines, the whole thing, the recruitment numbers you're probably hearing, they're at records, so we're really happy about that. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Trump talking about recruitment.
Yep. Final. Yep. So, all right. We'll have to wait and see what which ones he signed for. Let's see.
Upcoming. And I was curious, how much more confident are you with President Trump leading this country that there will be peace through strength and you will have a successful partnership with the United States versus with Biden's incompetence and weakness over the last 4 years?
That's your question, but I'll answer it. I agree with you. Gross incompetence. We're going to have a fantastic relationship. And it has been, look, the whole world's been set back over the last 4 years by the weakness of the United States, the weak leadership of the United States. But I think we've taken care of it in just 3 weeks. It seems to me that even some of the media that we wouldn't prefer has been writing that this is a much different country right now, that the world has a light over it. Not only our country, but the whole world. The prime minister told me that before, too, even over India. The world has a light. They need the United States.
Yeah, that's simple. Yep. All right. This was well articulated, like what this young man had to say. Here we go.
Listen, I don't know who the fuck need to hear this, but it need to be fucking said. I don't give a fuck your color. I don't give a damn if you black, white, Asian, Puerto Rican, Mexican. I don't give a damn. You cannot ask for inclusion, but continue to create segregation. How the fuck that's gonna work? If you want an all-white nation, take your ass somewhere where it ain't nothing but white people. Iceland, or wherever the fuck the Vikings come from. If you want an all-black nation, take your ass to Africa. There's plenty of us over there, and it's a bunch of them. You ain't never got to see a white person another day in your life. Mexicans, if you don't like black and white people, take your ass back to Mexico. Just go back. But over here in America, we rock together. We ain't got no choice but to rock together. We ain't got a choice. So we might as well find a way to get along and stop all this goddamn separation and this segregation and all that bullshit. We ain't got no goddamn choice but to fucking like each other, man. Damn, stop all the hate. Stop all the separation. Stop all the bullshit. Just stop. Just stop. One nation under God. Do we need to go back? Do we need to go back? God damn.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. All right. Here we go. I'm sorry for forgetting Representative Maxine Waters, but for right now, I'm going after you, Robert Garcia, Representative, and Senator Schumer, and Representative Jeffries. You act like you're so tough, but you're just cowards trying to gain attention. Yeah.
Hi, Aspen Amazing Patriots. Article 1, Section 5 of the Constitution states that any member of Congress, such as Robert Garcia or Chuck Schumer, who are inciting violence against our president, our country, and now Mr. Elon Musk, could be removed from their positions. And because they are a threat, I think this should be exercised immediately to do just that. Anyone who incites violence against our leaders or our country should immediately be deemed a threat. Oh, and don't think I forgot about Representative Hakeem Jeffries. He should also be impeached immediately. I love and appreciate you all. Hi, Aspen Mason.
Yep. Yep. These kids. Here we go.
We're just wondering if there's some proof, evidence. Is the White House willing to share evidence of those fraud claims, or can Elon Musk come to the briefing room and share material evidence of what he's talking about?
Sure, I would love for Elon Musk to come to the briefing room. That's why we had him go to the Oval Office yesterday, where I think he provided great answers. He was speaking in layman's terms, speaking common sense to all of you in the media, but also to Americans at home. But I would say especially to all of you in the media, because I think it's a real fallacy that there's this alleged lack of transparency when it comes to Doge. President Trump
Stop it.
And Elon Musk have been incredibly transparent on what Doge is
I said stop it. I got nothing else running.
doing. There is an X account with the Doge handle.
Wow. Really? X, why are you slowing this down? You know?
They are tweeting out what they are doing on a daily basis. They have a
Wow. Isn't that crazy? Let's go ahead and pause it for a minute and let it catch its breath. Let it catch its breath, right? I mean, the amount of stuff we put out already today. We're already 3 hours and 15 minutes in. Wow.
website where they are posting the receipts of the contracts that they are reviewing and the payments that they have stopped from going out the door. The secretaries of our departments have stopped from going out the door. And I would also say that before it was Elon Musk making our government efficient and accountable, it was some unnamed bureaucrat that none of you knew. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. He is also now one of the most highly scrutinized men in the world alongside President Trump because of what he's doing and the access that he is allowing. So there's great transparency. As for the actual receipts, we are happy to provide them. And I actually brought some today because all of you know I love to bring the receipts. We have contracts upon contracts that we can send and provide this information to you. Let me be very clear. We are not trying to hide anything. We have been incredibly transparent and we will continue to be. These are screenshots of contracts that Doge found across our government. This is a DEI contract, $36,000 for U.S. citizenship and immigration services. That is against the president's policies and his America First agenda. This is a $3.4 million contract, a Council for Inclusive Innovation at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, Department of Commerce, another DEI contract that Doge identified. I can continue to go through these. Oh, I love this one. $57,000 for climate change in Sri Lanka. What is this doing to continue the interests of the American people? Absolutely nothing. These are the line items across the federal government that Doge is identifying daily. They're moving very fast. There's a lot of paper that we can show you, but we're happy to do it. This administration has been more than transparent about what Doge is doing. And here's one of their tweets that they posted about the mine. I believe this is in Pennsylvania, where the federal employee retirement system is being processed. Did anybody know this was even happening in our country before Elon Musk talked about it in the Oval Office yesterday? A lot of Americans didn't. So we are providing transparency and accessibility on a daily basis when it comes to Doge. And I also have a Doge daily report, if anybody would like it, on all of the things that they are identifying and finding. We're happy to provide this information to you. We're talking about it every single day.
Are all those things you just mentioned fraud, or are they waste, or are they just contrary to the president's policies?
I would argue that all of these things are fraudulent, they are wasteful, and they are an abuse of the American taxpayer's dollar. This is not what the government should be spending money on. It's contrary to the president's priorities and agenda. And again, we can continue to provide you the receipts for all of the fraud, waste, and abuse. And if anybody in here wants to argue that the federal government is not fraudulent in some capacity, be my guest, because I think the American people watching at home would beg to differ. Mary.
Boom. Yep. Just laid that right out there. Yep. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin and Doge just canceled a $50 million environmental justice grant to the Climate Justice Alliance, which believes climate justice travels through a free Palestine. Our tax dollars funded this. Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah. Okay. Gene Ho says, now I'm going to have to research what this shit is, okay? What the fuck is coronavisor and who the fuck has it? Well, you know what? Let's ask Grok. Grok. What is the The chronovisor is a controversial and largely unsubstantiated device alleged to have been developed in the mid-20th century, primarily associated with Father Pellegrino Ernetti, an Italian Benedictine monk, scientist, and exorcist. It is described as time viewing machine, capable of observing past events, essentially functioning like a TV tuned to historical moments. Below is a structural overview of the key aspects of the chronovisor based on available information, origins, and claims. Inventor and development, it's Father Ernetti claimed in the 1960s that he, along with a team of prominent scientists, including Nobel laureate Enrico Fermi and former Nazi scientist Werner von Braun, developed the chronovisor in the 1950s. The team allegedly included other respected physicists, engineers, and mathematicians. Purpose: the device was purportedly designed to view past events by capturing and decoding residual electromagnetic radiation and the sound waves left behind by historical occurrences. Ernetti claimed it could not physically transport people through time, but allowed them to witness events as they unfolded. How it allegedly works. Technology. The chronovisor was said to consist of components such as multiple antennas to capture light and sound signals across various wavelengths, cathode ray tubes for displaying images similar to early televisions, a direction finder or control panel with dials, buttons, and levers to tune into specific times and locations. Scientific basis. Ernetti described the device as using a process called chronotopology, which involved tuning into vibrations and frequencies left in space-time by past events. These frequencies were allegedly reconstructed into images and sounds, allowing users to view historical moments. Notable claims of use. Historic events. Ernetti claims to have witnessed several significant events, including the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, speeches by Roman orators like Marcus Tullius Cicero, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, lost works of art and literature such as the Roman tragedy Thyestes by Quintus Ennius. Evidence. Ernetti reportedly provided limited evidence, including a photograph allegedly showing Jesus on the cross, published in the Italian magazine La Domenica del Corriere in 1972. He also claimed to have viewed and transcribed parts of the Thyestes. But it's at the Vatican. The Vatican is where it's at. Interesting, right? Yeah. Let's see. There we go.
No one elected Elon Musk and his minions. And so we've come together because we believe in the Constitution and the rule of law. And we believe that no one is above the law. And we believe that there are individuals, obviously, who should be prevented from having access to this law. And we believe that there are individuals, obviously, who should be prevented from having access to this law.
Yeah. I think she's a little bit lost there. All right. Let the show begin.
Here's something that's going to make your morning, or at least it's made mine, In case you're not aware, a Ninth Circuit Court judge, a very liberal judge, by the way, has just issued a ruling saying that all those blanket pardons that Joey Dum Dum issued on his way out the door of the Oval Office, they're all unconstitutional. In the ruling, he states that they failed to meet the criteria to qualify for pardoning, right? You know, things like being charged with a crime or being tried, convicted, sentenced. Yeah. All those things have to be met before a pardon can be issued. So, you know, those pardons for Liz Cheney and Dr. Fauci and Adam Schiff or General Milley, yeah, they're all rendered null and void now. So grab your popcorn because this is going to get really fucking good. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Yeah. All right. What concert were they going to? At Hair. Yeah. Oh, boy. All right.
Folks, I believe that love is the answer, but you ought to own a handgun just in case. Folks.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I love
everybody.
you.
I love you. I love you.
Can I get an I love you?
Say I love you. I love you.
Of course.
I love you.
Love you.
I love you.
Say, I love you.
I love you too. I love you too. I love you.
I love you.
Oh, Rob, I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Sorry to hear that. All right, every man, woman, and child should know this. Oh, boy.
The summer of 2019, a massive transformer was seized at the Port of Houston by the U.S. federal government and the Department of Energy, put under federal escort to Sandia National Laboratory. This is during the Trump administration when we were serious about these things. Why? Why was that transformer seized? Why was it brought to Sandia? Came from China? Came from China. What did they find in it? Officially, we don't know. That report is still classified. But one of the Trump administration officials that worked at the National Security Council, Latham Sadler, he discussed on an interview how they had found a hardware backdoor in this transformer that would allow someone to remotely switch it off. That was 2019. May 1st, 2020, President Trump passed an executive order called Securing the Bulk Power System. President Trump declared a grid security emergency. At the time, our nonprofit was tracking these things, these Chinese transformers. There's about 300 in the grid. That executive order was meant to address that threat. On the very first day of the Biden administration, that executive order was suspended and the floodgates were reopened to the importation of Chinese transformers. We pulled the numbers 2 weeks ago, 492.
It's as if the Biden administration wanted us to be spied on and wanted us to not be safe by leaving our borders open and allowing bullshit like this to happen. Look it up.
Hey, Rob, what state do you live in? I live in the state of confusion. If you can find that state, you can come get a puppy. Thank you, Tennessee. I appreciate that hugely. And Shannon, Starsky Mooney, and Linda for your donations today. I appreciate them very much. They will come in handy coming into... I'm waiting for the roads to clear so I can even put an order in for anything because we've had some pretty nasty. So about an hour after I finished last night, that snow that was coming down so beautifully turned into ice. Not the snow. The snow stayed snow, but then we got like a 2-inch layer of ice on top of it. And, you know, I was making a comment to somebody in the text last night, and I said, you know, I'm extremely thankful that the snow came first, because having that warmer water thing down below it, that ice melts faster and it makes it easier to be able to walk too. So yeah, it's I'm glad. I'm so glad. But we've had a pretty good amount of sunshine today so far. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, thank you. Okay, I'm going to mess this. I hope I don't mess this up. Nyana, thank you very much for that. So, speaking of Valentine's Day, let's see what this young man says.
If you hate Valentine's Day, the real story behind why we celebrate it is going to blow your mind. I never knew this. Listen to this. Valentine's Day traces back to 3rd century Rome, where Emperor Claudius II banned young men from marrying. Why? He believed that single men made better soldiers, because they probably weren't so distracted, right? A Christian priest, however, named Valentinus, defied this decree, secretly performing weddings for young couples because he believed in the sacredness of God-ordained love. This is where it gets really crazy. He was eventually arrested, imprisoned, and sentenced to death for his actions. While in prison, he reportedly prayed for the blind daughter of his jailer, and she was miraculously healed. Before his execution on what day? February 14th, he wrote her a note signed, "From your Valentine." His story reflects not just romantic love, but sacrificial love compelled by the agape love of God. Why is this significant? Despite the fact that the culture has overly commercialized this holiday, we can point back to it and remember that this holiday is actually a picture of God's sacrificial love towards us. In that while we were yet sinners, not worthy of God's love, Jesus came down from heaven to planet Earth, not to propose to us on a knee, but on a cross, declaring once and for all his love for us would actually break the power of sin, death, and the grave over you and me once and for all.
Wise words. Wise words. Thank you. All right. Everything he says about Gen X is true. Should have left us alone.
Gen X, these people just don't know what they've done. You've woken up, Gen X. I mean, you just don't understand what you've done. Gen X, their first lesson in science was to take a magnifying glass and angle it just so the sun comes through it and torch live bugs. Burn them to death. These people literally spent their childhood beating the shit out of each other just to be best friends for life after. I mean, pain doesn't exist for these people. They would play tackle football in the middle of the street on the concrete and then yell car when a car was coming. I mean, while kids today are eating sour candy as a challenge, Gen X literally impressed girls by putting cigarettes out on their tongue. They would literally take a lighter and heat up the metal on the top of a lighter and then turn it upside down and burn their skin just because they wanted a smiley face tattoo. I mean, you're talking about a whole generation of people that rode around in cigarette smoke-filled cars with no seatbelts, let alone airbags. These people grew up being borderline tortured. When they got in trouble, their parents would send them outside to pick a switch, a long, skinny stick that was flexible enough to cut through the air and cut flesh. If they did not pick a suitable switch, they were made to go get another one, and it just got worse. And then, if they ever hurt themselves and fell off their bike and scraped their knee or whatever, they would wear these wounds like badges of honor. And even though we hurt ourselves, we would then go inside to see our parents, and they would pour peroxide on that shit. It would bubble and sizzle and turn all red. We wore that shit like badges of honor. Gen X was wild. We would have 4th of July. We would shoot Roman candles at each other, bottle rockets and shit. While y'all are standing 30 and 40 feet back from whoever set the fireworks off, we were in the middle of that shit, usually turning it upside down and shooting it in our pockets. I mean, Gen X has cheated death our entire lives. All we wanted to do was sleep and rest. And you goofy bastards have made it absurd enough to live on this rock that we are coming out of retirement just to burn this bitch down to spite you, and then hopefully we can go back to sleep. If not, we'll stay awake and we'll just keep the fire going, because Gen X don't quit. Y'all gonna learn one of these days.
I remember all those things. I do. Yeah. Douglas McKay says DOJ about to clear the docket on public integrity. This just keeps getting better and better. Valentine's Day massacre. Strong rumor with this is Harry Litman. I have no idea what. Blue Sky Social. Harry Litman. That's the new Democrat thing. Strong rumor with credible sourcing. DOJ has put all of public integrity line attorneys in a room and told them they have an hour for someone to choose one who will sign motion to dismiss. And if nobody does, they will all be fired. The nastiest strong arming in DOJ history by a long shot. Blue Sky. That's the app that they use. We use X. They use Blue Sky. If you support border czar Tom Homan arresting AOC for giving illegal aliens instructions on how to avoid deportation, post a thumb in the comments. I'm not one of those post a thing like that. Yeah. Jack Pasovic says, following the onslaught of Pete Hegseth and J.D. Vance's speeches in Europe, France has just surrendered. Let's see. People definitely ain't ready for this. Let's see.
So the fuse is lit, and there's not going to be too many people ready when this thing goes off. Who caught what Nancy Mace said the other day?
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to call out the cowards who think they can prey on women and get away with it. Today, I'm going scorched.
Now, if you didn't hear that, you need to. Everyone needs to.
I saw another video of another woman who was undressed, clearly on a camera, unaware she was being filmed. She was slender, and she had long brown hair. I turned up the volume to hear if there was audio. I heard my voice.
There's your breadcrumb. It's the videos. Same thing with the Diddy case. What are they all worried about? The videos. Epstein. Same thing.
Video.
And I've been watching this whole thing, and through the years, there's a couple other instances like this that got zero media attention. Remember back in 2003, this whole thing here between Massachusetts and Virginia?
Department of Justice arresting 3 people for operating 2 in Virginia and 1 in Massachusetts. Some of the customers allegedly include elected officials, military officers, and government contractors. Fox 5's Tisha Lewis joining us.
And then, of course, there's the arrest of the son of the owner of Buc-ee's, who had his whole house hooked up with video recorders. And if you don't know how hooked up his family is, you might want to check that out. But let's just say it's no coincidence that somebody from cybersecurity and the Department of Defense was the one who busted him. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and say none of this is a coincidence, but more like just a matter of time. Y'all stay safe.
Yeah, rapists, murderers, and monsters. The death penalty. Yeah. All right, here we go.
This was a badass closing statement.
President Trump, in my opinion, is absolutely making America immeasurably stronger by gutting USAID and gutting the State Department forthcoming. He is making it clear that there is no more stupid social engineering programs that will continue. No more comic books for $50,000 or $50,000 trans operas. No more $800,000 job fairs in Bangladesh for trans individuals, specifically in a country where the average monthly wage is $220. These things come to an end. Asking the questions, are Americans better because that dollar came out of their pocket and went to these programs or not? That is a bar that we have to hold ourselves to. Should somebody working today have kept those dollars in their pocket instead of sending their dollars to programs like those? There's not a more important question that we could ask. Are President Trump and Secretary Rubio and Elon Musk and his team, are they eliminating waste? Absolutely yes. Are they making the system accountable where the buck stops with Secretary Rubio? Yes. Secretary Rubio is in fact encouraging important life-saving programs to continue. America is significantly stronger every minute the wasteful programs are ended, and we are weakened every minute that they are allowed to continue. We gave the Biden administration and my Democrat colleagues the chance to work on oversight. One easy example that I worked on personally would be the expansion of atheism in Nepal with $500,000 grants. My colleagues played the game, admit nothing, deny and lie about all of it, and make counter accusations. Even with all of the documents laid directly in front of them. That's what took place. We tried. They wouldn't do it. I know Americans are not stupid. They know there is no value for them in a $100,000 DEI survey in Ghana. They know that there's not value for them spending $520 million to pay ESG consultants to teach people in Africa about climate change. Also, what is extremely telling to all of us is the amount of grant recipients who are not asking for waivers. They know that the gig is up and do not even want to try and justify what it is that they had been doing, the way that they were grifting off of Americans who are going to work each and every day. What is not surprising is that my colleagues have tried to lie to American people, saying that people are dying. We've heard that argument before again and again. My colleagues have said about 10 times, at least in this hearing, that there was an elderly lady in Thailand who died because they couldn't get her the oxygen she needed because America cut off aid. Let's tell the truth about what really happened. The NGO who was providing oxygen, International Rescue Committee, known as IRC, their CEO, David Miliband, has a salary of about $1.2 million a year. That is the theft, the larceny that's going on at USAID, where the grants, well, even possibly life-saving grants, are paying for high salaries for former British members of parliament. Parts of PEPFAR have been approved for waiver because it provides life-saving medication to people who need it. Certainly not the abortions they were conducting, but that took Secretary Rubio shutting down the program, reviewing the BS that was going on, and correcting it. Combating the spread of Ebola has been approved for waiver because it's life-saving. World Food Program aid in Haiti has been approved for waiver because it's life-saving. What hasn't been approved is the waste, the grift, and the larceny. Now, despite the arguments that we've had today, we do agree that aid can be effective and that aid can advance America's interests. But the countries that receive aid will not receive it if they are taking the United States of America and its people for granted. And it will be life-saving aid, period, not social engineering.
Yep. Interesting, right? Interesting. And yes, that was a very good closing statement. All right. This is Denny's in Houston, Texas. Worker speaking in Spanish blames Donald Trump for not having a single customer. She shows all the employees sitting around doing nothing while the place is empty. A Saturday in Denny's. Here we are, all empty. My colleagues and I without anything to do. Thanks to our President Trump. There's no business. This is directly from a worker on shift. I can't even comprehend the real number of illegals in America. Yeah, well, So you were feeding all them. So your regular customers weren't coming in and didn't come back to you. They went and found other places to go and eat, and you're upset about it? Yeah. Yeah. Here we go.
This is the craziest experiment. I'm going to do it to you. It takes 12 seconds. Pretend me and you are talking 5 years ago. And I say to you, hey, in 5 years, there's going to be 2 teams. One team is kicking in the door to all of the government agencies that seem to blow all of our money and figuring out where the hell the money's going, including your worst enemy, the IRS. And the other team has somehow convinced themselves that this is bad. What the hell is wrong with you? Did it work? Did the experiment work? Are you stopping being dumb now? God bless everybody. If you want your social media or your business to explode, shoot me a DM. I'd love to coach you. Let's see if it's a good fit. This is the craziest experiment. I'm going to.
All right, moving on. Cat Turd says, haha, I am Ken. Michael is a deep thinker, not necessarily smart. Here we go.
Michael, hypothetical situation. If I died in a foreign country, let's choose Jerusalem, just because. If I died in Jerusalem and it costs $30,000 to ship me home or $500 to bury me there, what would you choose?
I would pay $30,000 to ship you home.
You would. I'm shocked by that. Why would you pay the $30,000 over the $500?
Well, about 2,000 years ago, a man died in Jerusalem, and then 3 days later, he rose from the dead. I can't take that chance.
Michael.
Oh! Okay, that was so good I coughed. Oh, yes. 2,000 years ago, a man died in Jerusalem and he came back. With you, I just can't take that chance. Oh, Lord. Oh. So let's look at the Doge news. Congress has secretly paid out more than 17 million of your tax money to quietly settle charges of harassment, sexual or other forms in congressional offices. Should Doge investigate this and publicly release the names of every elected official on the list? Yeah, I think so.
This is a message for all the Americans watching certain Canadians boo your national anthem. As a Canadian living in Texas, I would formally like to apologize for those guys. I'm going to try and explain things so it makes sense on their behalf, even though I don't think I should, but I'm just trying to kind of get the knowledge out there. Most Canadians are absolutely broke, and we only have state-owned media, which is government-owned, government-paid by our tax money. So the media is pumping out that Canadians are well off, that they're so educated, that they're happy. And a lot of these NPC drones believe this. And so now, because of failures of Justin Trudeau and his Liberal Party, they're basically using Trump as a scapegoat as to why the failures have happened. And most of these NPC drones believe it. So there's an economist out of Calgary who basically did a comparison of certain provinces and certain US states. And Ontario, which is our business capital, only comes in 5th poorest US state. And Quebec would be the second. I'm from Alberta. We're only slightly behind Texas and Minnesota, and I'm going to show the numbers. And so you have to understand that most of these people are now just reacting, and you'll see them online saying things like, at least we have free health care. No, we don't. It's taxed. At least I don't have to take out a second mortgage to afford my health care. they can't even afford their first mortgage or even their rent. Most people are taking out loans just to get by with basic needs such as food and electricity. So you have very angry, demented people who have now lost absolute all reality because of Justin Trudeau and the political climate that is going on in Canada. And I just wanted to let you guys know that it's not all of us. It is the demented, like Trudeau supporters. So let me just show you the numbers. So if we compare GDPs of provinces to US states, Ontario would be the 5th poorest and Quebec would be the 2nd poorest. Ontario's GDP per capita is 59,700, and only 4 states, Alabama, Arkansas, West Virginia, and Mississippi, are lower, and they're not even that much lower. Then Quebec, with the GDP capita of 54,000, only exceeds Mississippi, and these are the guys that were booing you last night. Now, I'm from Alberta, and our GDP is 82,000, and we're only slightly behind Texas, and kind of the similar with Minnesota. Now, not only is the economy in the shitter in Canada, but it's also very hard to get jobs, regular jobs, because we kind of ruined the economy with the illegal influx of illegals, and they're being hired first because the government's giving them incentivized, tax breaks if they do. So if you ever come across one of these Canadians, just know that they're not all right. We have a mental health crisis up north, and I finally now realize, living in the United States, why people say God bless Texas, God bless America, because God truly did bless this country with amazing people, amazing places, and I just wanted to apologize on behalf of those ding-dongs in Canada.
Apology accepted. Absolutely. All right. We're not going to touch this one. We can see what the topic is, right? You can see that, right? We're not even going to mess with it. Let's see. Go ahead and I'm not going to touch that one either, because we get into anything in regards to medical whatsoever, it screws us every time. All right, here we go.
Oh, Hunter Michael, you did not. Hunter, did you give me flowers? Do you smell them? Oh, baby. Oh my gosh, they're beautiful. And chocolate-covered strawberries. Oh, you're kidding. You're kidding me. Oh, take one. Take one. Take one. Oh. Oh my God, so good. Wait, let me see back. Baby, you love me? You don't even need to tell me. I know you love me.
You're actually insane.
To the tree where Dan may go.
I can't play that because we get in trouble for the song. Oh, yeah. Snow art. Hi, Art. Nice snow. And we're going to stay away from there.
He's bringing back plastic straws. The dirty, non-recycling bastard is bringing plastic straws. I can't believe it. Trumpalicious. Oh, my God. I'm going to get a one-way ticket to the US of a Mayraker. Oh, finally going to be able to finish a chocolate milkshake from McDonald's without feeling like I'm sucking a fucking tennis ball for a piece of A4 paper. Oh, dirty little bastard. I can't believe this. I'm actually getting a stiff one. I'm getting a tiny stiffy thinking about this. Oh, if only the UK could do the same. Mr. Keir Starmer, get your fucking plastic straws out, babes. Fuck them. Bring back the plastic, guys. Bring back them. Just bring it on. You don't recycle shit anyway. It goes to landfill. Fuck them. That's what I say. There, I've said it. Cannot believe it. Love it. Get your plastic straws out. Oh, God. Gino D'Agampo.
I think he might be a little bit excited about plastic straws. I mean, all the Coke addicts are going crazy, knowing that there's, never mind. Okay. Oh my God, Karen, now you have to get a real job like everybody else. We're going to end it with this one here. Here we go.
Guess who just got fired via phone call? Me! I was a forestry technician for the USDA Forest Service, and my crew dealt with timber sales and management. So think salvage sales, wildfire mitigation, American lumber product, forest and ecosystem health. So I was still in my probationary period, and I was 3 months away from getting my 1 year. I have put 5 years of my career into public service and natural resources, and this is how we are getting treated right now. Now, my supervisor can't answer any of my questions, like what's going to happen to my last paycheck because they're going to log us out and we won't be able to put in our time. What's going to happen to my health insurance? Am I going to get my separation form, my final one? Because I need that paperwork to apply for unemployment. And these are not merit-based firings. All of my performance reviews, my entire career, have been stellar. Nothing under fully successful. And the legality of this is questionable at best. So I guess if anybody knows any good federal employee lawyers or anyone I can talk to about this, because yeah, this is definitely making my life a lot harder right now. I had to get put on anxiety medication because of all of this stress. It kind of felt a little bit like a weight was lifted off my shoulders when I got the phone call, because now I don't have to worry if I'm going to be fired anymore because it already happened. But, just fucking ridiculous. It's very much giving tech bro layoff. And for those who don't know, there are certain processes and procedures that must be done before a reduction in force can be enacted. And according to my supervisor, they had zero prior knowledge that this was about to happen. So let's see what happens next, I guess.
Oh, I presume that you had a job remote. What's this? Yeah, that could be a problem. Go get mom. Yeah, go get mom. All right. Sarah McBride's American bathroom bully, the new trans-identified congressman, claims Republicans like Nancy Mace who are obsessed with bathrooms. But in my latest article, I traced McBride's long track record of invading women's spaces and attacking free speech. McBride revealed his obsession with women's bathrooms by photographing himself in one. As press secretary of the corrupt ex-gay group HRC at HRC, he argued the struggle over bathrooms had been a feature of every civil rights struggle, and was a political priority. So obsessed with bathrooms was McBride that after HRC failed to stop a bathroom bill in North Carolina protecting women's spaces, HRC mounted a revenge campaign to ensure its governor was not reelected. If you come for us, we're going to come for you, warned McBride. Invading women's restrooms was such a compulsion for McBride in 2018 Google seminar. He admitted HRC killed a non-discrimination bill in Philadelphia that protected gay and trans people from employment discrimination just because it had an exemption for women's restrooms. McBride also admitted HRC tried to silence any scientists or researchers who opposed his extreme trans agenda. For example, after Professor J.M.B. Michael Bailey wrote a book about autogynephilia, sexual fetish McBride seems to suffer from. HRC went behind his back to try and get him fired. McBride and his family's intimate. I don't even want to read about this freak, because that's pretty much what he is to me. All right. Okay.
Your conscience is not the voice of God, because you can have a fallible conscience. Your conscience was developed based on the way your parents raised you, based on the parameters they wanted to place around your conscience. But the Holy Spirit places his hand on your conscience, shakes it awake from its spiritual slumber, and says, come on and work with me so that I can get this brother, this sister to know God's will. So that same unction you felt before you were saved, that told you don't take that job, do take that job, don't talk to that person. It's that same feeling that you're looking for, that same conscience. The Holy Spirit rests his hand on it and is now using that conscience to cause you to know God's will for your life. Your conscience.
Yeah, it's a good place to stop for the day, I think. Yeah. All right. I will be back with you guys again tomorrow. Please have a good day. Miss Minder Sue, thank you very much for your donation. Appreciate you. And I will be back with you sometime around 11 or 12 tomorrow, depending on what's going on out here. I'll try and get it set up at least an hour or two beforehand. So I want to say, please have a great day today. And remember that your Creator loves you, his Son loves you, and I love you. Peace.